On any space. 3 seconds. 2. Deep one. Dodge it. My God. Bingo.
What a wonderful Wednesday afternoon. How are you? And welcome to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440. Sports1440.ca, Orders Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. And as always, the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Loaded show for you today. Of course, we'll hear from Drake Caggiula. What a great story. The Drake is back in the NHL. We also will have Tyler Yaremchuk, Craig McTavish will be by. We have a wonderful Who Is It Wednesday guest. I'll give you some hints on that momentarily. Mike Rupp will be by. Yaremchuk. Man, this show is loaded. Loaded. Can't wait. Should be awesome. So we'll look for that. You can always get involved. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. That's a good name for, it's a great day for nicknames. Rupper, the Drake, Mac T. Now, our Who Is It Wednesday guest, we all know who he is. I don't know if he has a nickname. If not, maybe by the end of Who Is It Wednesday, we'll have a nickname for him. Or maybe he has one that we're unaware of. You would think by now I would have heard it, but maybe not. So there you go. That's a pretty known name. This guy has won multiple awards in his young career thus far. Was widely considered one of the fastest, if not the fastest, in his sport. There's a few hints for Who Is It Wednesday. Now, I'll save you texting. It's not Connor McDavid. He's rehabbing his ankle. Oiler fans, now you know. 2 to 3 weeks. And if you go by the 2 to 3 weeks timetable, that could be anywhere from 6 to 11 games that he will have missed. Now, technically, he's going to be credited with the games played against Columbus, even though he only played 37 seconds. But it will be a game played for him, and all that does is lower his time on ice average per game is what it will do, because it's 37 seconds a game. And, in a short sample size, hey, that could be a big difference. All of a sudden, it's 10 games when you've played 200 minutes, and it looks like it's 20 when it's really only 9. So there you go. But Connor McDavid, if you missed it, the Oilers put out a release today. 2 to 3 weeks is the expected timeline for him. And we're hoping we might have time for hoping to get Grant Fedork on the show tomorrow for a quick little, it's ankle. When you watch it, a lot of people I saw some docs saying sprained ankle. Now, what's the difference between a sprained ankle and a high ankle sprain? Now, I get the theory that it's higher, but it seems like high ankle sprains are much harder to rehab. So we'll probably get Fedork on to touch on that on tomorrow's show. Last night, the New York Yankees avoid being swept in the World Series. Freddie Freeman sets an MLB record as he went yard for the 6th consecutive game in the World Series. All 4 games this year, and his final 2 World Series games in 21. That is unreal. Could he go 7 in a row? And it's like, so he's hit 1 in the 10th, a grand slam. And then he's hit 2 first-inning home runs in New York in games 3 and 4. I can't remember what inning he hit his home run in L.A. I think it might be in the first inning. Collins, can you look that up? So I think this guy has hit home runs in the 10th, the first, and the first. I think his second home run, or his first home run in game 2 was also in the first inning, but Collins, look it up. Maybe I'm wrong on that. So we'll see. But he's, man, talk about getting your team off to a hot start every time. That is That's pretty damn impressive. Like, he is the clear-cut runaway winner if the Dodgers win the World Series. Who's the World Series MVP? Like, this is the most captain obvious choice ever.
Third inning.
Okay, there you go. So 10th, 3rd, 1st, and 1st. So could he go yard 3 in a row in the first inning of the World Series? Like, be amazing if he did. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Also, last night in the NHL, you saw it. Been some high scoring games lately. Some lopsided affairs. The Senators were all over Ottawa 8-1. Or sorry, not over themselves. They were over St. Louis 8-1. Seattle pumped Montreal 8-2. You had Marc-Andre Fleury go back to Pittsburgh, and they're victorious. Also, the San Jose Sharks, as they get now consecutive wins after starting out 0-7-2. They've won 2 in a row as they defeat the LA Kings. So the good news for the Edmonton Oilers is while they've been stuck in neutral outside of Vegas, like Edmonton's only 3 points back of second place LA. Now Vancouver has a few games in hand, and if they win those games in hand, then they would be 6 points up on the Oilers. So you gotta be cautious of that. If they split it, worst case scenario for Edmonton, they're 4 back of second place Vancouver. Now they got an opportunity to try to get things going, and we'll talk about that today because I've seen a lot of people. Oh my God, like the Oilers, they're gonna fall apart, and I'm kind of like, let's take a step back and look at their lineup. Okay, so you have a guy who scored 50 goals 3 times. He's won an Art Ross. He's won a Hart Trophy. He's 4th all-time in playoff points per game. It's a pretty damn good player in Leon Draisaitl. You have Zach Hyman, who scored 50 goals once, scored 40 goals once, has had 30 goal season. His last 3 years, pretty darn good. So is this guy a legit top 6 forward based on his production? 100%. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is a player who, while historically not a great player, 5-on-5 when it comes to production, he has scored 60 points in his career 4 times. He had the one outlier season with 104. We all know that was a perfect storm for Nugent-Hopkins. He's basically like a 55 to 65 point player, realistically. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a second line player in today's NHL. All day, every day. You have Victor Arvidsson, who has scored 30 goals twice in his career already. He has scored 20 goals on 3 other occasions. I'd say he's a pretty decent player. Now, he's only got none this year, so he's off to a slow start. He had 6 goals in 18 games last year. This guy knows how to score. So to me, when you've been a 4-time 25 scorer, that's a top 6 player. No doubt in my mind. Then you got Jeff Skinner, who this guy's perennial 30 goal scorer. Now, he did have one time where he scored 40, but he has scored 20 goals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times in his career. 20 goals. He has scored 30 goals 6 times. Legit top 6 forward. And he's a very good 5-on-5 production player. Adam Henrique, 8-time 20-goal scorer. Okay? I don't... And he's on your third line. The Oilers have enough offense that even without Connor McDavid, they could be a threat. Go look at some of the other teams' rosters. Does Detroit have anybody? Go down the list of these teams. And when you look at them, do any of them have a player as productive as Draisaitl? Outside of McKinnon and Kucherov, nope. So just start there, and then you work your way down. I don't buy this excuse that the Oilers can't be successful. Give me a break. They got lots of players play up to your potential. Right? You got Ekholm, Bouchard, and Nurse, who have all been consistently productive offensive players from defensive side of things. So they should be able to chip in if you're worried about offense. Right? And when they play their game, they can be good defensively. So play your damn game. Play up to your capabilities. I look at the Oilers and I look at their schedule, and I outlined it on Twitter. If you look at the potential 11 to 6 games that McDavid is going to miss We don't know exactly how many it's going to be, but the Oilers are playing Nashville tomorrow, then Calgary, New Jersey, Vegas, Vancouver, the Islanders, Nashville again, Toronto, Montreal, Ottawa, Minnesota. So teams who made the playoffs last year, Nashville, Vegas, Vancouver, Nashville, Toronto, and the Islanders. Although I'm not sure the Islanders made them. I'm not sure they're a playoff team. But either way, it's not like you're playing Vegas, Florida, the Rangers, all the top teams. Now, Vegas is good. That'll be a tough game. New Jersey's been okay. They're higher in the standings more so because they played more games than everybody else. But they're not like this just unbeatable dominant force. Look at their goals against. Both their goalies are sub 900. So I just 500 should be the low bar for the Oilers. Now I know they're 4-5-1, but I outlined what previous Stanley Cup losing teams have been for a decade. I think we have to consider the emotional toil that it takes when you lose. Then you come back and maybe you're in a little bit of a funk. I think we've seen that. Now, it's just the Oilers' inability to finish hasn't been there. Got to bear down. And we'll see. Does not having McDavid, is that waken them? We'll find out. But either way, I think it's way too much of an excuse to suggest that Edmonton's only going to win 3 games without McDavid. There's no reason they can't be better. They got some skill, mix in some will, and they should be fine. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Hey, guys, the Oilers are barely keeping their heads above water with Connor. If he's out, that'll cost him a shot at winning the Pacific, Craig and RD. But see, here's the thing, Craig. We've outlined the numbers. Edmonton hasn't been able to finish. And I've talked about it. Lots of guys with terrible shot placement. So it's not from a lack of speed. It's not from a lack of puck possession. It's not from a lack of scoring chances. It's from a lack of finish. And that just shouldn't all evaporate at one time. When you have, even without McDavid in the lineup tonight, do you know how many Oilers on this team who will be in the lineup tomorrow have scored 20 goals in a season? 7. Maybe even 8. Bouchard's 18, so no. But Nugent Hopkins has, Arvidsson has, Hyman has, Draisaitl has, Skinner has, that's 5. Henrique, Connor Brown, Corey Perry. And Corey Perry had 12 goals in 54 games last season. So they have more than enough guys with some offensive instincts that they should be able to produce more than they have. Even with McDavid in the lineup, they need to produce more. But without him, they still have the potential to produce more. And, man, if I'm Chris Knobloch, I'm going into that room and I am challenging these guys in the best way to remind them, you guys are good. Throw out some stats line for guys. Feel good about themselves. Historically, lots of you guys know how to score. Let's just go score. Right? Don't put any, woe is us out there. Because if you feel sorry for yourself, all you have to do for a second is go look at the Colorado Avalanche. Now, if you want to talk injuries, let's get an injury. They just got Ross Colton, who has 8 goals in 9 games. He's out for 6 to 8 weeks. They've already got Lehkonen out. They've already got Nichushkin suspended. Landeskog, who they had basically had his cap space on their roster planned for, he's not playing. Miles Wood is out. Taves just came back. They're going to play Oliver Shillington at forward because the coach said, man, do you want to get in the lineup? You can play forward. 100%. I want to play. They're not having enough healthy forwards. You don't see them just suddenly rolling over. So I don't buy that excuse for a second. The Edmonton Oilers, you had a practice today. Caggiula and Philp, as we talked about yesterday, they were on a line with Corey Perry. Derek Ryan was rotating in, but I see no reason why you wouldn't play Philp and Caggiula with Perry tomorrow. You'll have Henry, Janmark, and Brown. They have Nugent Hopkins, Hyman, and Skinner. And then Podkolzin, Arvidsson, and Draisaitl. So those will be the line combinations tomorrow for the Edmonton Oilers. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. As always, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. It's Lotto 649 Wednesday. Get your tickets at PlayAlberta.ca. And good luck. Just a cool, easy 20 schmil for you to win. PlayAlberta.ca.
Gateway Toyota treats us like we're precious gems.
Because that's what we are.
Every vehicle purchased from Gateway Toyota includes enrollment into their GEM program.
It stands for Gateway Exclusive Membership.
And it gives you 5-year access to over $2,500 in benefits.
Free oil changes.
Free tire and windshield repair.
Free car washes.
Even an annual detailing.
You'll also get special discounts, trade-in bonuses, and referral rewards.
I feel like a gem.
At Gateway Toyota, just off Calgary Trail at Ellerslie Road.
When it comes to your health, trust Dr. Bryce Henderson for expert care in hip and knee replacements. With years of experience and advanced techniques, Dr. Henderson helps you regain your mobility and quality of life.
Your health is my priority. Let's get you back to doing what you love.
Put your health in the hands of a trusted expert. Book your consultation with Dr. Henderson today. Visit vitalsurgicalspecialist.ca or call 587-391-7864.
We've finished construction of our gamma radiation containment facility. Is it up to code? Is it going to be safe?
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Testing team reporting. We test your commercial operations using tools like infrared to ensure safe operation. Trust us to prevent potential calamity before it strikes.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
The Canada-wide clearance is on at GMC. Get a $7,500 cash credit on 2024 Sierra 1500 Crew Cab elevation models. With Sierra's 13.4-inch diagonal premium GMC infotainment system with Google built-in compatibility, available off-road package with hill descent control, plus an available 3-liter Duramax diesel engine, you can take the road less traveled and try new things, like fishing or whitewater rafting. I should have gone fishing. Ask your GMC dealer for details.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. This Halloween, sink your fangs into any large 2-topping pizza for just $14.99 with promo code H1499 at papajohns.ca.
The best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$217, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Orders Nation, YouTube, and Facebook, as always presented by PlayAlberta.ca. As we go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's. You only have a few days left. Get in for Monopoly right now. And while you're there, try what I think is their best burger ever, the Big Arch. So good. Only at McDonald's. As we welcome in from the NHL Network, also an analyst for the Pittsburgh Penguins, former NHLer, Stanley Cup winner, Mike Rupp. Joins us, Rupper. How are you?
I'm good, Greggs. How you doing?
I'm great. Rupper, when you played, you must have had one of your best guys out for an extended period of time. It's only a few weeks, and I've seen a lot of people, the Oilers, geez, they're really going to struggle without McDavid. To me, there's no reason they should struggle without McDavid. Their lineup that they'll ice tomorrow has 8 guys who have scored 20 goals in their career. It's got a guy who's a Hart Trophy winner, 2 guys who have scored 50 goals, 5 guys who have scored 30 goals. Then they throw in the points of Bouchard. Their roster without McDavid, I still look at it offensively and compare it to a lot of other teams. That's what most teams have.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. I mean, that part of that is what Connor is, right? Connor McDavid is what he is, and everybody reveres him to be. So that's a significant loss to any team. But to your point, this is a really good hockey club, the way they're built, and they've got depth and all those things you just listed there. So I actually, you're of course a better team when you've got 97 in your lineup. But I think this could be a good thing for them. I was happy to see that it's not that long. It's a few weeks here. There's 10 games. If it goes 3 weeks, it's 10 games. This is a team that hasn't really looked like themselves so far. Well, I think this smokes it out. And I think it makes you as a player, and you talk about just from personal experience, there was a year where we were without Sidney Crosby. He had his concussion. issues, and we were without Evgeny Malkin for this whole second half of the year because he had ACL surgery. And so we ended up finishing the season with 106 points or whatever it was, and we had a very little time with those guys in the lineup. And I think what it was is it was wake up time, a little wakey for us, and we wanted, and plus we had a chip on our shoulder to prove some things. So I would look for Edmonton to do that. I look for Leon to be even better. I think he's been fine. I expect him to be even better, and all the guys on the team to pick up the slack. So I think this could smoke out things in a very positive way for this Edmonton squad.
Mike Rupp joins us. Rupper, the Colorado Avalanche. Oh, hey, we talk about injuries. My goodness, they've had Nichushkin and Landeskog for different reasons out, but guys that that's $13 million is just kind of sitting there waiting to be used. Then Drouin, who was their first line winger, he gets hurt. Now Ross Colton, who was off to an unreal start with 8 goals in 9 games, he's out 6 to 8 weeks. Miles Wood is out, and you go down the list of a team that didn't have a lot of depth to start with, and that's 5 guys who you would say are top 7 forwards. 5. Right? Maybe 4, because Middlestad would be definitely there with Rantanen and McKinnon. Yet they're finding ways to be competitive still. To me, injuries are there, and they're an excuse, because the truth is injuries are a reality. You just don't know when they're going to hit.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you've got Colorado for an example. Yes, they have a lot of depth pieces and kind of complementary pieces, but the big boys, they've been there. They've been unbelievable. I mean, what Cale Makar has been doing, what Nathan McKinnon has been doing, I don't know what this team would be or where they would be if it wasn't for those guys being all world through this stretch. But it's part of the season, and I hate to always, maybe it's just you look at it glass half full. I mean, that's the mode that you're in as a player all the time. If you want to stay positive, but I'd much rather this stuff happen right now than happen in February or March or April, right? So just, it's not great, but you get to really see what you're working with. I think management gets to see it. The coaching staff gets to see it. And this is where the competitive nature of players come out, because you're going to get different looks. Hey, I want to take advantage of this. I'm not going to just sit here and just mope around. This is an opportunity for me that I've been waiting for. So, sometimes when teams are dealing with injuries, they become a little more fierce in the way they play the games, and in turn, they end up being just fine.
Mike Rupp joins us on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. And Rupper, looking at some games last night, the Boston Bruins, they lose again. Their big guys aren't driving their team right now, and I look at Ottawa and Buffalo. Our teams, I think, on the rise, maybe even Detroit somewhat. And I think Boston's going to be in for a real battle all season long. Where do you come out on the Bruins?
Yeah, I do too. I think coming into this season, we probably thought that this could be the year where it's not just the top 4 in the division and the bottom 4 and having a significant gap, I guess, between those. I didn't necessarily see it playing out the way it is right now, and there's still some uncertainty. I don't know if Ottawa is going to be good as the season goes on. We've seen this from them before. We've seen this from Buffalo, and so I think if you're Boston, this isn't good. It's not great, right? They're a team that needs to, I think, have a little bit of help to be okay. I just don't know what this team is, and if they finally have started to show that they're falling off or going in the other way. I thought they were going to do that the last number of years, and they've been awesome. So it just shows the great winning culture they have there. But they're challenged by it right now. I mean, they've got basically, even up to this point, you've had David Pastrnak doing a little bit of scoring, and after that, it's pretty much your 4th line. So it's not the exact recipe for success. And if you have any kind of consistency with Buffalo, Ottawa, Detroit, I think Boston definitely, they could be in trouble this season.
Yeah. Mike Rupp joins us. You look around the league, Rupp, and there's, outside of Winnipeg's super hot start, Vegas is off to a pretty decent run, but there's a lot of early season parity, right? The Sharks are at the bottom, and we kind of expected the Sharks to be at the bottom, although they've suddenly won 2 in a row even. But, there's lots kind of in the middle. And, are you expecting that, or do you think we'll start to see a little bit of separation? Because even the Devils have 14 points, but they played 12 games, right? Their points percentage puts them as a middle of the road team. I think they're, I don't know what they are, 11th or 12th. So do you see parity, and just because it's early, and do you think we start to see a separation, or are we going to have maybe 20, 21, potentially 22 teams in the playoff mix?
Yeah, I think it's going to be the latter. I think we're going to have a lot of teams in the mix. I think that a lot of teams got better on paper. I think a lot of teams showed that they were willing and able to take steps last year. And this gives them a fresh start. I haven't bought much stock in evaluating teams through 15 to 20 games. That's just, I don't think you can till after that. So if you're a team out there that's struggling through 15, 20, can you do a bang up job enough to make it where you're not making the playoffs because you're so poor in the first 20? Absolutely. But you can't fall off a cliff. But if you've been looking bad, I'm not willing to say that's who you are. It's a long season, and it's about progress and getting better and better. But I'll say the same thing with teams that come out that look great. It's not that easy, and I think a lot of times we've seen that from some teams that have really good starts, and then things kind of fall to the wayside as the season goes on. So right now, I think it's just, hey, let's navigate through this. Let's figure out what we've got, what kind of buttons our coaches can push, and stay in the hunt right now. And I feel like the cream will rise to the top as it usually does, but I think that's the way the league is right now. There's not many teams, I think, probably outside of San Jose, and I don't know what to think of Chicago yet, but there's a couple teams that I think are going to be definitely the kind of the cellar dwellers. But after that, I think you're going to have some wide open hockey playing for wild cards, and I think that's a good thing to watch.
Oh God, yeah, I'd agree wholeheartedly. Mike Rupp joins us on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. Rupper, the Capitals are 6-2. I love their offseason. I picked them to be a playoff team. And Alex Ovechkin has 4 goals in 8 games. He's on pace for 41. He when the season began, he needed 41 to tie Gretzky and 42 to beat him for the record. And I think if he's close down the stretch, he's probably going to beat him. But what do you make of the Caps and Ovechkin kind of picking up where he left off in the second half of last season?
Yeah, I mean, not until last night. I mean, he had the goals, the 2 goals last night, obviously. So that's going to always spur this conversation on. But I've been impressed in watching this Caps team that I've talked many times in a positive way about them, and I never even mentioned Alex Ovechkin's name. I think that's what you got with this team. You've got some really nice pieces that are starting to come together. It's kind of just a makeshift roster in some ways. It doesn't fit in a lot of different ways, but then it does. It's a strange build if you understand what I'm saying, and it's working though, right? Like they've got pieces here. They have some reclamation projects. They got these young players. Connor McMichael's been great. I like them, and I think that Metro Division is wide open. So we'll see how the season goes. I still feel like Ovi's going to probably have to wait till next year for the Gretzky record, but I still think he gets north of 30. And I certainly could be dead wrong. We've seen this guy get going, and he can score with anybody. But I just find that this is a team that they're not overly quick, but they play fast at times, if that makes sense. They're a big team. They've got a little bit of everything covered, and I quite frankly think they have the potential to be a top 3 finisher in the Metro Division. I certainly think they can finish in a wild card. I think they can get as high as maybe number 3 in the Metro.
Oh God, yeah. What about the Devils? It is super early, but Kevin Woodley's been on, and he talked about it at the start of the year. And Woodley knows goaltending. He said Jacob Markstrom was the perfect goalie for the Devils last year because he's a better goalie when he gets more rubber. He's the best at stopping high danger chances. It actually, the numbers on low danger chances is where he's a little bit more susceptible. The Devils' defensive team is way better this year. They don't give up a lot of shots. They don't give up as many chances. But that really is kind of the opposite of who Markstrom historically has been. And early on, we're kind of seeing that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great observation. I mean, that's some goalies. I played with some before that you need volume and maybe even high quality shots against you. And that's when goalies are at their best. I played with in that same organization, Marty Brodeur, and he would go long stretches of not seeing pucks. I think that part of that's what's made Marty so great. And some people would say, well, look at the teams they defended in front of Marty, that Marty was overrated. I'm like, what? There'd be stretches Marty wouldn't see a shot for half an hour of real time. You know what I mean? So it's not an easy thing for goaltenders. So, but the Devils do defend better. They're one of the better teams off the rush this year. So those are all things that are positive. And Markstrom, he's been up and down. The team's kind of been up and down up to this point. I'm still kind of waiting to see what they are consistently, but that's an interesting point. I mean, this is a guy in his career, when he sees rubber, he's usually better, and they're trying to get away from that. So it's just some adjustments, but he's the right guy. I like the veteran goaltenders they have on the roster now. Jake Allen and Jacob Markstrom, I think, is the combination that this team needs, because they're defending better, but they still give up some stuff now and again, and I think those guys will be there to bail them out.
Quickly, Rupper, are we going to see a champion in the World Series tonight, or is it going 6?
Oh man, there's one of those games where I think it's over tonight. I mean, you scored all the runs last night. Isn't it like a hockey game? We always say that, hey, save some for the next night. You know, we don't want to be lighting the lamp 12 times in the game. We got a game tomorrow, but we'll see. I think it ends tonight, though.
All right, Rupper, always great to catch up with you, man. We'll be. Are you on tomorrow?
I am not.
Okay.
I'm not on until I got a few weeks until I'm back on that coast to coast.
Well, we'll talk about that next Wednesday. Your first Amazon coast to coast appearance last week.
Awesome, buddy.
Okay,
Enjoy,
buddy.
man.
Have a good one. There's Mike Rupp from the NHL Network and Penguins radio analyst. We got a lot of guesses on Who Is It Wednesday. Alphonso Davies. Ooh, that's a good guess. We've actually been in contact with Fonzie's representatives, and we're hoping that he will join us on Who Is It Wednesday in the future, but not right away. Maybe when he does, though, he'll be on a different team. Todd Marchant, few guesses. I like that. Although, did Marchant win an award? I don't think he won an award, but he was fast. He was very, very fast. So. Hey, boys, nice touch on that intro with Noah scoring his goal from CJ. Yeah, hey, you know what? Every intro on this show is 100% Connor Halley. I have literally zero say. I don't take any credit. I never do it. I think maybe once a year I might send him a text. Hey, can you put this, like there'll be some goal call or something. But literally, I think it's maybe once a year. I always trust Cons. He's on the pulse. He knows what's going on. And he always finds different ones that match, just like his song selection. And he does his song based on a topic we're talking about or something else. It's always very timely, very fitting. So, yeah, I like that one. It caught me off guard. I was like, ooh, I like it.
I got to say as well, I got to deflect here to Declan and Kate as well.
Okay.
They kind of jumping in and have been helping out. So we have a little meeting before the show and make sure we get the good ones. But
perfect.
A couple Edmonton area products connecting on a goal. That doesn't happen too often.
No, not very often, right? Kids from St. Albert assisting on a goal from a kid from Beaumont, who did, by the way, play his 250th NHL game last night. So it's pretty awesome. He didn't even know it. I texted him after the game. She said, congratulations on 250. He's like, what are you talking about? Which, if anybody knows, and doesn't surprise me. But I had a good chuckle about that. So, and what about Adam Gaudette? Could Drake Caggiula be Adam Gaudette? Right, Drake Caggiula is going to join us coming up here in about 5 minutes' time. Of course, Drake Caggiula, he started his NHL career in Edmonton. And you know what? I remember the 2017 playoff run. Caggiula scored some pretty key goals. He was physical. That was his rookie year in the NHL. And he was a solid player in the regular season. And then he spent 2 more years in Edmonton. Then he got traded actually to Chicago. Then he was in Arizona, Buffalo, and Pittsburgh, kind of bounced around a little bit. And he has not played a game in the NHL since March of 2023. So now you fast forward, he's going to get back in the NHL on Halloween of 24. That's 19 months since the last, and really hasn't been a regular in the NHL. You got to go back to the 2021 season. So it's 3 years, and you know what? You grind it out. You play in the American League, and you just kind of battle it out. And so, good for him. It's a great example of perseverance. And you know what? He earned this recall. He had a very good camp. And no one had Drake Caggiula as one of the final cuts. I don't think anybody was mentioning it. So give him credit. Surprised a lot of people, including myself. And then he goes down to the minors. What does he do? He was their best player in the minors, I was told. By his coach, management, best player. Earned his recall. 5 points, 5 games. And he'll come up here and, he's going to play in a four. It's going to be a little bit of a different role. But he knows what he needs to do in the NHL. And you got to think he's going to have a lot of excitement because there was a part of him that thought, hey, you know what? I might not be back in the NHL again. And he's a young guy. He's only 30. So we'll talk to the Drake next on the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. Our guest, some other hints. He was a first-round draft pick, a top 10, actually 8th overall draft pick for our Who Is It Wednesday. He's won multiple awards. Considered definitely fastest on his team at times, and arguably maybe fastest in the league that he plays in. Who is our guest? Who Is It Wednesday? You'll find out in about 25 minutes. We'll return to the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta? New players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet. Every week, all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Wow, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Weather forecast? Ugh. Savings forecast? Cha-ching. Save up to $225 on a set of 4 select tires, plus a bonus $50 off any service of $150 at Fountain Tire until December 14th. Restrictions apply. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love: better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's AquaCentral reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade. Safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
Need a truck? Want a great deal on a truck? Get into Wolf GMC Buick. It's GMC's Canada-wide clearance. Take advantage of 0% financing on Sierra half-tons. Oh, and guess what? GMC employee pricing is back on all in-stock 2024 Sierra HDs and Yukons. That means thousands of dollars in savings on GMC Sierra 3/4 ton and 1 ton. Also thousands off the industry-leading SUV, the GMC Yukon. Get to Wolf GMC Buick now and drive away with money off and a smile on. Just off the Anthony Henday.
Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada, with sports and entertainment properties including the Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, the Hockey Super League, and the newly launched Female Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena. The Silent Ice Center, a new state-of-the-art entertainment facility, is open in Nisku, which features 2 sheets of ice, including a 1,600-seat arena and a restaurant with a viewing area.
Mr. Rooter meets a ghost. 1 plunge, 2, and 3. A toilet clogged with a ghost? Man, I love plumbing. You're free now.
I will never find peace. The clog is fixed, yes, but I have never trusted the sump pump.
No problemo. I can fix that. Now go to the light, you little scamp.
Thank you, Mr. Ruda.
To resolve your unfinished plumbing business, trust one plumber, Mr. Rooter.
In a world where every day is a battle against time, elements, and gravity, one ally has stood strong for over 50 years. Titan Supply. In the harshest conditions, against relentless deadlines and overwhelming tasks, they equip you and help keep you working safely. Lifting, digging, or hauling. Gear up for the everyday battle with Titan Supply. Still standing strong in Edmonton, Grand Prairie, Red Deer, and Calgary. Or online at titansupply.ca.
Lift, dig, haul.
Funeral ceremonies are different across communities and cultures, but the need to mourn and remember together after the death of a loved one is something we share. It's hard to heal without a ceremony to provide connection and closure.
Mourning together is essential to the healing process. I'm Kirsty Smolik, third-generation president of Park Memorial Funeral Home. From a large church service to a small family dinner, we create the community connection that provides comfort and honors your loved one's memory at Park Memorial.
Portions of this hour brought to you by eWell. eWell.ca is your power play partner with a new website that puts the power in your hands with 24/7 ordering and shipping within Edmonton and across Alberta. Score an account today at ewell.ca.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.241. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. Hope you're having a wonderful day. I have some real big announcement for you coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. You might want to stay tuned for that as well. But let's get to our oil report brought to you by VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. The new 2025 XC90s and XC90 plug-in hybrids are in, and they are fantastic. Test drive one today. Try it out. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. The car is great. The service is even better. As we welcome back to the program a gentleman who 8 years ago in 2016 made his NHL debut after 4 years at North Dakota, and was in the NHL from 2016 through until 2023. Has been 19 months since he played an NHL game, but tomorrow night he'll be back in the NHL with the Edmonton Oilers. His second tour of duty with the Oilers. Drake Caggiula joins us. Drake, welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Jason. How are you doing?
Hey, man, I'm great. And I love stories of perseverance, man. Like it's, you know what, pro hockey's hard. And, making the NHL is hard, and staying in the NHL is super hard. And you know what you always hold out hope. You're a young guy. You just turned 30 this summer, right? But it'd been a while since you've been back in the league. You came to training camp this year, and you know what? You were well deserving of being one of the final cuts. You were right in the mix and easily could have made the team. What kind of explain to us your mindset and how you clearly didn't accept of just going to be an AHL guy this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think I just came into the camp with an open mind. I think it's probably been the most mentally free I've been at a training camp in my career, and that's even going back to my rookie year where I was coming out of college and I was on top of the world, and I felt like I could accomplish anything at that point. But this year I just kind of said, like, screw it. There's nothing to hold back. Like, I'm just going to go and play my game. And I'm not going to try and be a player that I'm not, or, if the coach says, do this, do that, you just become a little bit of a robot. So I think for me, I just played free, and, having family and kids and stuff changes perspective on life. And, I'm just grateful to have the opportunity and, do whatever I can to help this organization.
And so tell me about, when you got the call earlier this week that you were coming back to the NHL. You know what? That had to be a pretty rewarding moment there when you got that phone call. Was it Keith Gretzky? Who was it that gave you the call?
Yeah, it was Keith. He called me on Monday night, and we had just been on a 4-day road trip in Tucson, Arizona. So my wife wasn't overly thrilled that I was leaving right away at first glance there, but she's obviously supportive of the situation, and I was obviously very excited. It's Edmonton's always kind of felt like home for me, being that I started here, and for it to come full circle like this, like it's a very exciting thing. It's a rewarding thing. I've grinded. I've worked hard to get back into this position and put myself in this position. And, I'm just very grateful for the opportunity.
So Drake, the NHL and I look at the orders. I kind of see, okay, here's a guy who's got some offensive ability, but also can play with a little bit of an edge. And if there's something that this team's maybe lacked up and down their lineup, is a little bit of a spark, especially early in games. You feel confident you can bring that?
Yeah, I think I pride myself on trying to be a complete player, being able to chip in offensively, but also trying to be, responsible defensively. In the AHL, like I have, a lot of minutes on the power play, but I also do a lot of stuff on the penalty kill and last minute of the game, defending, stuff like that. So just trying to, play a well-rounded game. But the biggest thing for me is, playing with a little bit of a chip on my shoulder. I've always had that, being, an undersized, undrafted player. You just kind of want to prove people wrong. So you just naturally have that chip on your shoulder. And then playing the game with a lot of energy and a lot of pace and a lot of enthusiasm. I think, even at 30 years old, like my wife's always telling me, like, I need to take a chill pill because I'm just full of energy all the time. And I try to, emulate that on the ice and just play with, some jam and some energy.
Drake Caggiula joins us. Drake, tell me a little bit about the guy. It looks like you were skating on a line with Corey Perry and Noah Philp. Noah Philp's a guy like you who was right down to the wire, had a really good training camp. You've seen him in the minors. He had a whole year off, and he doesn't look like it's bothered him at all. What are Oiler fans going to see from him tomorrow night?
I mean, he's a great human being. Like to miss a full year of hockey and then just come back and do what he's doing is very remarkable. He's got a phenomenal story, and I'm very excited for him and very happy for him to be in this situation now, and it's well deserved for him. And he's been great. Like he can skate like the wind. He's big. He's powerful. He can shoot the puck. Like he's a right-handed centerman. Like he's kind of got a lot of different tools in his toolbox, and I'm very excited for him in this opportunity. And like you said, he can bring a lot of pace and a lot of energy as well. And hopefully we can see that tomorrow.
You mentioned you're excited for him, and obviously you're proud of what you're doing, Drake. And it's hard to put yourself in a position that you haven't yet been in, although you've been in an NHL room. But will there be some rookie nerves tomorrow, or is it all excitement?
I mean, hard to really say. I guess you don't know until you're kind of in the situation, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not going to. I mean, speaking for Philper, like he might have some nerves, or he might just be full of adrenaline and head out there and do great. It's hard to gauge anything, right?
But I meant for you. Sorry, not
for me.
Yeah, for you.
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. I think at the end of the day, it's just hockey, right? Like I'm playing hockey. I'm doing what I love. I've worked my whole life to get to the NHL, and ever since getting there, I've worked hard to try and stay there, and I've worked hard to get back there. And at the end of the day, you're just playing hockey, and I'm sure there might be a little bit of nerves, but at the end of the day, like I said, I'm just playing hockey, and I'm doing what I love, and I'm very grateful for that.
Drake Caggiula joins us. Drake, how much has the last 105 or maybe it's 108 AHL games where you scored 37 goals, how much has that helped you just kind of regain your confidence? I know not everybody scores at the AHL level the same at the NHL, but you were a scorer in college, right? You were a scorer in junior, and when you don't score for a while and you have to adjust to a role, I understand that it's hard, but how nice is it being to score again? And do you feel that maybe you'll come in this time with a little bit more confidence in yourself that, you know what, like I'm not just going to chip and chase, I can make plays?
Yeah, I think that was a huge piece for me. I think my whole life up until getting to the NHL, like I was relied on to be one of, if not the, offensive guy on my team. And when I got to the NHL, like things weren't necessarily clicking for me in that aspect. And, I kind of got demoted into more of like a checking role, and you kind of lose the confidence, and you become a little bit more robotic. You just chip and chase, run around, hit a couple of guys, and do your best not to get scored on. And over time, like next thing you know, you get into a scoring situation, and you don't even believe that you're going to score. You're like, oh, I'm just going to shoot it on net. You have no faith in yourself to even score. And being in the minors the last couple of years and being put in those offensive situations, being asked to carry that offensive load, I think has really helped me get that confidence back, feel good with the puck. I get a little bit more leeway down there to try and make some plays, and that goes a long way mentally. And I think anytime you're scoring goals, whether it's on the backyard rink or in the NHL or AHL, doesn't matter. I think it always helps with the mental psyche.
Drake Caggiula joins. Drake, what number are you going to wear tomorrow?
I'm number 8 with the Oilers now. My third number.
I was just going to say, we actually had Lance text in. He goes, is Caggiula the first guy to wear 3 different numbers in the Oilers? I'm like, geez, that's a good question. I know guys I know lots of rookies come in and they get one number and then they change to one. Yep. But what's the significance with 8 for you?
Well, I wore 8 in high school hockey, and I've always worn number 9. Obviously, 9's retired in Edmonton, so I wear 9 in Bakersfield, and I just 8's close to 9. I don't know. There's no significance to it, really.
All right. Practice today. It's been a while. It's you're back in the NHL. You're staying in NHL hotels. Tomorrow you got the morning skates, and you're running lines with guys today. Kind of Connor McDavid, who I know is a very good friend of yours, unfortunately isn't there. Can you give me a sense of what you got from the group about how it's like, hey guys, like we have an opportunity here to show that we're still a really good team even without our captain?
Yeah, I think that's. You got to have the next man up mentality, right? Connor's obviously a huge piece to this puzzle here, and it sucks that he's not available to play, but that's just an opportunity for everyone else to kind of step up and take on a little bit more and produce a little bit more. It's a good challenge for this group, and with myself and Filper coming up, like we're just trying to be extra pieces to the puzzle and provide a little extra spark or a little extra energy, whatever it may be, right? It's got to be next man up mentality. Everyone's got to, band together and, do this as a collective unit.
Drake Caggiula joins us, Oilers in Nashville tomorrow. And now, Drake, you mentioned, being a family guy now, that's obviously a lot different than your first time. How has being a dad, although your wife jokes you're still a high energy all the time, but how has being a dad helped you as a hockey player?
Well, honestly, it's shown me that there's life outside of the rink. I think when I was younger and single, living in Edmonton by myself, like you go to the rink, you have a bad game, and then you go home and you're sitting in an apartment by yourself, and that's kind of all you're thinking about is, hey, I played like crap today. Like what am I going to do? How am I going to fix this? And then you kind of go down this dark spiral because that's all you're thinking about. And now I'm able to go home, and my wife doesn't necessarily care if I had a good game or bad game. She's more or less just happy that I'm healthy and playing.
Yep.
My kids are just excited to see me. They don't even know if I played well or played bad. So it just gives you a little bit of a different perspective, and I'm able to compartmentalize and be a hockey player at the rink and, be a husband and a father away from the rink. And not to say I don't, obviously watch games or watch film or whatever it may be at home, but it just gives you a little bit of a different perspective on life and give you a different avenue to, kind of escape from the madness of hockey.
Yeah. And that's got to be thrilling. How old are your kids?
My oldest will be 4 on November 5th. And then we have a 2.5-year-old boy as well.
Okay. So now the 4-year-old kind of understands what dad does.
A little bit. Yeah. He was pretty upset because I'm missing Halloween and his birthday party coming up. So he was pretty upset, and he always knows that, like, when I say I'm leaving for hockey, he knows it could be anywhere from like 3 to 10 days,
right?
With like road trips, or training camp was like a month.
Yeah.
So he was pretty devastated. I said I have to leave for hockey, and he said, well, you always leave, and when you leave for hockey, you leave for a long time. So
right.
he's slowly, starting to understand it, but it doesn't make it easier for him.
No, well, it doesn't make it easier as a dad. That one's got to hit you in the pills a little bit.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Obviously, like, I'd love to be there with the kids trick or treating, and obviously my kid's 4th birthday, I'd love to be there for that. But it's part of the lifestyle that we live, and you need to have the right family and the right support around you to do what we do. And my wife's the rock star. She takes care of the kids, and she's on her own right now, but she does a great job with keeping them grounded and also keeping me grounded.
Now, Drake, were you, as a dad, when you go out trick-or-treating, were you going to dress up with your son? Did you have a costume?
I don't have one for this year. Last year I went as, my son wanted to go as Spider-Man, so I went as the Hulk, and
nice.
He loved that. And then we had our Condors Halloween party, so I was Cal Naughton Jr. from Talladega Nights. So I was probably just going to repeat that one and wear that one out with the kids.
Oh, hey, nothing. Hey, buddy, repeat costume. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. One last one for you. Look at the Nashville Predators and tomorrow's game. And when you come in, Drake, as a guy who has NHL experience, but you're new to this group again, how important is it to kind of fit into the group? And is there any pressure on her, because you've been on multiple teams? It's kind of easy for you to fit in, especially when Draisaitl and Nurse and Nugent Hopkins. I think those are the 3 guys who were here when you were with the team last.
Yeah, I think not that you want to be bouncing around from organization to organization, but it has taught me a lot about being yourself and going into a locker room, and obviously you're not going to go in there and step on anyone's toes, but it does help when you already know previous players. I work out with like 5 or 6 guys at Gary Roberts in the summer, so I have a lot of familiar faces, and that makes things a little bit easier when you go into a locker room and you know people. But at the same time, with my experience and being in different teams and different organizations, like I've had to be a little bit of a chameleon and adapt to different locker rooms and different personalities and different playing styles, all that sort of stuff. So you do get some added benefit of that, but it's definitely makes it easier when you already have some friends in the locker room.
Well, Drake, congratulations on grinding it out. It's great to see you back in the NHL. Enjoy the game tonight. Best of luck, and we'll see you when you guys get back to Edmonton.
Sounds great. Thank you very much.
That is Drake Caggiula, who will wear number 8. That's a really good trivia question. How many other Oiler players have worn 3 different numbers? Like, I know lots of guys who wore 2. Right? Like Horkoff wore 36, Stoll wore 36, and then they wore 10 and 16 respectively. Lots of guys, you come in as a rookie and you play for Ryan Smith, I think was 10 very briefly, and then of course wore 94. But 3 for one guy. Cons, anybody else you know of?
So I'm just thinking, did Comrie wear a rookie number? Because he had 89 and 91.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Clefbaum would have worn 2.
Yeah.
He switched to 70. Was it 77 he wore at the end?
Yeah.
Didn't love that. Liked 84 on him. But yeah, I think Caggiula is the only one that comes to mind right now.
Yeah, I'd have to look it up to see, if there's other guys and who wore, like any goalies. Maybe not, but that's a good question. Try to do a lot of research to find it, but maybe someone out there knows off the top of your head. I know, like, it'd have to be someone who played here multiple times, right? So that would be the first start. So we'll see. When we come back, very special. Who is it Wednesday guess? Multiple time award winner, first round selection, 8th overall in his sport. Widely regarded as one of the fastest on his team and maybe fastest in the league. That's coming up next on Who Is It Wednesday as we get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by the Alberta GMC dealers. The Canada-wide clearance is on now at GMC. You can get a $7,500 cash credit on a 2024 Sierra 1500 Crew Cab Elevation. See more at gmcoffers.ca.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Edmonton Oilers captain Connor McDavid is expected to miss 2 to 3 weeks with an ankle injury he suffered on Monday against the Blue Jackets. Oilers back in action tomorrow, taking on the Preds. Elsewhere around the NHL tonight, you got the Jackets taking on the Islanders, Jets in Detroit, Avalanche host Lightning, Flames taking on Utah, Kings host Vegas, and the Devils travel to Vancouver. World Series Game 5 goes tonight from the Bronx as the Yankees look to extend this series, once again hosting the Dodgers. First pitch set for 6-8. Dodgers lead that series 3-2. In the association, Toronto Raptors forward Scotty Barnes has a right orbital bone fracture. He'll be reevaluated in 3 weeks. He suffered the injury on Monday night when he was elbowed in the face by 3-time MVP Nikola Jokic. The Raptors are in action down in Charlotte, taking on the Hornets just after 5 o'clock. You also got the Lakers taking on the Cavs, Celtics, and Pacers. Sixers hosting the Pistons, Knicks in Miami, and the Bulls hosting the Magic. The Edmonton Oil Kings in action. They'll take on Spokane tonight. Puck drop just after 8 o'clock. And one game in the AJ, Fort Mac rolls into Lloyd, taking on the Bobcats. That gets going at 7. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, it's another edition of Who Is It Wednesday. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
A Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Ain't it beautiful? What does excellence mean to you, and how does it impact your decisions? Friends, it's Carrie Dahl, and I know that at Volvo Cars Edmonton, excellence isn't an option, it's their everything. From customer satisfaction in sales, service, inventory, and retention, they excel in all. Congratulations, Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winners.
Volvo of Edmonton.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at cantork.com.
Saving you more at the Brick. Save up to 20% off furniture, including sofas, sectionals, dining, and bedroom furniture. Save up to $500 off big screen TVs and up to 40% off mattresses. Plus, when you buy more, you save more with deals on Samsung, LG, Whirlpool, and Frigidaire appliances. And if you find a lower price before the end of the year, they'll refund the difference, including Black Friday and Boxing Day. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Experience more at the Edmonton Expo Center. Come for Canada's largest trade show, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. Stay for the experience. But it doesn't end there. Maximize your brand exposure with Edmonton Expo Center's new cutting-edge feature screens, spanning Western Canada's largest venue space. Captivate an annual audience of over 1 million visitors during iconic events like Pro Rodeo, Disney on Ice, Glow, K-Days, and so much more. To learn more, call 780-660-0514 or visit EdmontonExpoCenter.com today.
Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients. Better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. That's Sports20.
The Canada-wide clearance is on at GMC. Get a $7,500 cash credit on 2024 Sierra 1500 Crew Cab elevation models. With Sierra's 13.4-inch diagonal premium GMC infotainment system with Google built-in compatibility, available off-road package with hill descent control, plus an available 3-liter Duramax diesel engine, you can take the road less traveled and try new things, like fishing or whitewater rafting. I should have gone fishing. Ask your GMC dealer for details.
I Hear Unicare provides hearing aid devices at affordable prices. Plus, all 5 locations, including our new Stony Plain and St. Albert stores, have free parking near the entrance. At I Hear Unicare, we listen. Book an appointment at ihearunicare.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows, locally manufactured and installed. Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all of your residential needs. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Welcome back. I'm not sure who got it first because I'm just looking at the text, but Cons had mentioned the Juice had it, but so did Connor. Kyle Brodziak, the local guy, has worn 3 different numbers for the Oilers. He was 28, 15, and 51. So there you go. And hey, speaking of Kyle Brodziak, his brother Ryan, a good friend of our show, was in that terrible accident when he got hit by a vehicle. And man, you want to talk about inspiring? I've noticed he's starting to get some movement, and he's working so hard at getting some of his movement in his extremities back. So keep it up, Ryan, and everybody in the Brodziak family and all his friends. That is inspiring stuff to see, man, because you can't imagine that for a young man, a young father, young brother, to have your mobility just taken away on just a ridiculous, unfortunate accident. And he has the heart of a lion battling it out. So a big shout out to the Brodziaks, and way you go. I always thought Ryan was tougher than Kyle. No. He's definitely showing it right now, man. And his brother Kyle, of course, are super close, and he's there with him every step of the way, which is awesome. It is the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook, is always presented by PlayAlberta.ca. And we got a very special guest on Who Is It Wednesday today. As I mentioned, highly regarded as one of the fastest guys in his team. He's the fastest guy in the league. He has won the Crichton, multiple other awards in university. Football, was the 8th overall draft pick, first rounder by the Edmonton Elks a few seasons ago. And of course, just finished up a season with the green and gold. Trey Ford joins us on Who Is It Wednesday. Trey, how you doing, man?
Good. I just walked around the mall a little bit with the family. So we had a little play place with the daughter. So it was cool. Good day today.
Oh, okay. Now, how old's your daughter?
She's turning 2 in December. So it's getting close.
Jeez. She's just, now is she as fast as dad?
She's getting that. I was chasing her around today. She can move.
So we'll get into kind of this year and stuff, but on Who Is It Wednesday, we always kind of like to go back to where it started. Now, you're kind of unique situation because you and your twin brother, Tyrell, who is having a great season with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers this year. He's a defensive back, but you guys, identical twin brothers, you grew up together. You pretty much had like a football playing partner right from a young age. Was football your sport right from a young age?
Yeah, for sure. So we actually started playing when we were 6. You had to be 7 to be in the league, but my dad was a coach.
Okay.
So we were allowed to play, a year early.
All right.
And we also were allowed to have 13 guys on the field because me and my brother were so bad. So we were just smaller than everybody. So we both played safeties. We had 13 guys.
Okay.
We were absolutely terrible, but we did stick with it. My dad was a big part of that, always encouraging us and getting us out there. And then just over time, just having that extra experience over other kids. And once we actually got 7, 8, 9, we were dominating in those leagues, which was big.
So was your dad like a huge football guy? Is that what got you into such a young age?
Yeah, huge football guy. Every Sunday we're watching, NFL from noon right to 8 o'clock at night. So he was a big part of it. He loves football. He still coaches at my high school today. So
really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's outstanding. So now, because he's a coach, is he still coaching you?
No, he no longer coaches me, but he definitely feels like he knows a lot because, his thing is always, oh, my kids play professional football. I know what I'm talking about. And I mean, I always talk to him like, well, if you look back at it, how many other teams in that area had players go to the CFL? Maybe you just had some better players than some other teams, but he likes to take the credit for the coach. So we'll give him the shout out.
So now, were you always a quarterback from a young age?
Well, I played safety originally when I was like 6 or 7, but I think once I turned like 8, I ended up playing quarterback, and we won some games. That's when we started to get good, and kind of stuck with it since.
So you were the quarterback, and your twin brother Tyrell was the running back.
Yes.
And in youth football, a lot of times the running back's more of the star than the quarterback because you don't pass that much, right? At a young age, there's a lot of run option for the quarterback, scrambling, but not a lot of passing. So I'm guessing you did a lot of just handing off to Tyrell.
Yeah, I would just hand off and then watch the show when he would run around, and I'd watch him win all the awards. The odd time we would throw it, but we would put him out there at receiver and throw him the ball.
So who's quicker?
So this is interesting, actually. So we always talk about it. We actually did separate interviews and answered the exact same.
Okay.
So when we run 40s and stuff, he usually beats me in the 40-yard dash. When we run on turf, he usually wins. But once we go to the track, I beat him every single time. So it's kind of like, I don't know what it is, but I always beat him on the track and he always beats me on the turf.
So he's faster now. Because nowadays with the technology, like you guys can run on the track and then you can run in the field. But I'm guessing when you run in the games, you're still a little bit quicker, right? Like there's just something about that game speed where you're running the track, but I don't got a 240 pound linebacker trying to beat me, or I'm trying to beat him to the outside. Are you quicker in the game? Have you ever timed yourself in it? Have you ever gotten the timing in a game?
I did hear timing in a game a while back for my first year when I was in Edmonton. But honestly, I feel like you actually run slower in games just because usually like I'm running to look down the field, right?
Okay.
And even Tyrell as a DB, like he's not just running straight line speed. It's more like lateral and stuff.
Okay.
So I don't think your top speed actually, you don't think you hit it when you play football unless you get a clean breakaway and you're running down the sideline or something.
Right, yeah. So you air it out to the receiver and he's got 50 yards, of open real estate, and then he's off.
The thing is, I do feel like football makes you look faster because I got bigger guys chasing me who tend to be a little bit slower, right?
Okay.
And then it makes me look a little bit faster because I'm running away from them.
Trey Ford joins us. So as your evolution of a quarterback, you go through, minor football and you play quarterback every year. Did you play any other sports?
Yeah, basketball, track and field. Track and field is probably my second favorite one. I love just running.
What were your race distances of choice?
100, 200 in high school. And then once I got to university, I ran the 60-meter dash.
Ooh. What was your fastest 60? Do you remember?
6'8" flat.
Ooh.
It's not bad. It's okay.
Not bad.
I did it at 200 pounds too, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
A lot of the track guys are a lot smaller than 200 pounds.
Now, what do you play at now? Weight-wise?
Usually I'm like 195.
195.
So,
okay.
yeah.
So you'll bulk up like a lot of guys. You bulk up a little bit at the start of the season, but really once the season starts, like you might come in a training camp at 200 and then you play at 195. Is that normally how it works?
I usually fluctuate between like 195 and then 200. Actually, I weighed myself after the game and I was 204 and I looked at it and I was like, wait, let me step back on. And then it went down to like 200 flat. And I was like, okay, I was scared there for a second. I was like, I don't know where that came from.
Well, maybe you're just a little extra wet. You're dumping the water on you. Who knows how that works? So Trey Ford joins us. So you start out at quarterback position. It seems like it's the hardest position in football and one of the hardest positions in sports because they show now like the camera angles and stuff. They see it on guys. So you get behind the center and you're making all these reads. You're calling out the plays. And sometimes I listen to the play call. It's like 15 seconds of da-da-da-da-da. And you're like, I'm like, what the hell? But you have to memorize it all.
Yeah.
But then you have literally less than 3 seconds to scan to see all of that stuff happening, right? How do you train? Is it just from reps or what other things can you do to be able to take in all that information and then see it and capitalize on it in less than 2-3 seconds?
Yeah, honestly, I think it starts when you're really young.
Okay.
To even like going back to high school is where we had a full spread offense in high school, which not a lot of teams have. So I feel like I had a big advantage there because we were throwing 20, 30 times a game in high school where not a lot of other teams were doing that. And just the development just over time, I think it's something that you kind of just learn and it becomes natural because like, I don't know, like what I would tell a linebacker trying to go play quarterback and be like, oh yeah, this is how you do it. Like as a quarterback, you go out there, you do your drop, you're reading 1, 2, 3, or you're high, low on a guy or something like that. But like an actual, like I couldn't even think of an actual tip I would give to somebody like throw to the open guy. Like, I don't know. It's tough, right? So I think it's definitely something you develop over time.
And what do you feel like at what age were you like, you know what? I'm a pretty good quarterback.
See, I feel like probably my like grade 11 year of high school. I mean, my dad's been telling me since I was 6, oh, you're the greatest, you're the greatest, you're the greatest, right? So he kind of instilled a lot of confidence in me. But even in my like grade 9 and 10 in high school, we didn't throw too much. And you guys are a little bit different around here, I think, with grade 9 and 10 or something. I was talking to some kids and it was.
Well, yeah, grade 9 here normally is, so you graduate, like you start grade 12 for the most part, you're 17 when you start grade 12, right?
Okay.
And then, and I guess if you're a late birthday, then you're 16, right? Because the school season starts. But usually most kids will graduate. No, what am I saying? You graduate, 17 if you're after June and 18 if you're born January to June.
Okay, yeah. So grade 9 and 10, we threw a little bit, but still not a ton.
Okay.
And then once I got to senior football, grade 11 and 12, we were throwing a lot. And that was like a lot of the development happening there.
And a big part of throwing, I find, is knowing the touch on how to throw a 20-yard pass accurately and then a 30-yarder. And this time, maybe it's a 33-yarder or like that. How do you build that? Because like if I sit here and say, okay, guys, I want you to throw it, straight throw. Most people can throw the ball.
Yeah.
But then it's to put the touch on it and the timing of it to say, okay, this guy, Geno Lewis runs at a different speed maybe than Mitchell, for instance. So now I got to throw a 30-yarder, but it's a 30-yarder with a little different speed. How do how do you get that touch? And do you like, because to me, that seems like one of the hardest things in sports.
Yeah, that like a big one is going to be reps, right? So getting the reps with your receivers and being able to anticipate where they're going to be. I mean, it's not the easiest thing in the world. Even still at the professional level, you still mess it up, right? But with just the amount of reps I've gotten, over my 26 years of life, you kind of just develop it over time. And that's kind of the whole thing that comes down to the quarterback position is just development over time. It's kind of just something you learn, but you have to kind of get thrown in the fire to learn it. You can't just, it doesn't just happen.
Oh God, no. I wouldn't. And like really, when I think about it, you haven't even started 18 CFL games yet. Like you haven't had, if we just look at a full season of starts, there's so much more room potentially for Trey Ford to grow.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, the more reps you can get, the better, especially at being a young professional athlete. Right. Where I do feel like I've missed out on some reps, right? Whether, it was, just getting mental reps, which are great, right? I mean, they're better than no reps at all, but there's nothing like live actual reps in practice. And then even the game's a whole nother different game.
Trey Ford joins us. And so we take you through to high school, then you go to college, and, college timing due to COVID and a lot of other factors, that really limited the amount of games you got to play even in college, right? Like when you were drafted, like I think you'd played fewer than 20 games in college, correct?
No, I would have played more than 20.
More than 20?
Yeah, 8 would have been 24. And then 630, then playoff, probably like 32, 34 games.
Okay, but still though, not a lot. Like normally you would play more than that. Right? A lot of guys.
Well, yeah, so our COVID year we ended up missing 2.
Yeah.
So, but
you only missed 2 games that year?
Yeah, that was it. So it wasn't that bad.
Okay. Now you were the starter from day one in college?
No, I split reps with Lucas McConnell. We kind of both played here and there. We kind of got thrown in.
The jump from high school to university for football for a quarterback, what was the hardest part?
Honestly, the hardest part was probably not playing right away, right?
Yeah.
So, because when I did, come into high school into that senior level, they had an older quarterback who they're like, no, Trey's going to be our quarterback going forward.
Okay.
Right. So he got benched, then I went in and I was able to get all those reps. And then I get to university and it's like, I was still getting a lot of reps in practice.
Right.
Bertoya did a really good job of trying to develop me, and John Behe, they did a good job of getting me in and getting me those reps because they knew the following year that I was going to be the starting quarterback. And we actually had our 5th year quarterback stay in our, when I went to my second year, the 5th year quarterback stayed, but he was the backup. So Lucas backed me up the following year.
Okay.
So they kind of had the plan that I was going to come in and be the starter, but that was definitely the biggest thing. A lot of people talk about, the speed of the game is going to be so much faster. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, it speeds up, but so your receivers speed up.
Right.
So it's kind of
it evens out.
It's kind of the same, yeah.
Okay. Then you come to the CFL. Was the speed that much different?
Again, like it definitely sped up a little bit, but like it's not like it's 2 different games, right?
Yeah.
Everybody gets better. O-line gets better. D-line gets better, right? Linebackers, running back, right? So it all goes hand in hand at the end of the day.
Now you're fat. I've talked to opposing guys. I've talked to your own teammates, and like I even saw that example in the last game against Toronto. They purposely had the D lineman set outside because they didn't want you to break containment, and then you still broke containment and got outside and completed the pass. Like obviously your speed is a major weapon for you, and you said you ran track. It's obviously something that helped out, but it's not just speed. It's that changing of speeds that you're able to do where it looks like you slow down, then you accelerate. Kind of, is that just natural for you? Is that just something you had as a kid? Maybe you and Tyrell, you're playing against each other, so you just learned how to be quick, or was it something you really worked on to maximize your skill set?
Well, I definitely worked on it, whether it was doing footwork drills and whatever it was, right? But then I think a really big part of developing those kind of skills is actually playing a ton of sports. Whether, you're playing volleyball, you're outside just playing tag or manhunt, whatever you're doing, right? I feel like there's a lot of transferable skills and a lot of things you do at a young age. So like I'd recommend putting your kid in every single sport possible until they say, I don't want to play it, right? Just because there are so many transferable skills, and, you can go to football practice for 2 hours, but you can go after school and play manhunt with your friends for the next 8 hours, right? And it's just a longer time, and, it's competitive, especially since I had a twin brother, right? And we'd always just compete against each other in whatever we did.
Trey Ford joins us, of course, quarterback for the Edmonton Elks. And when you got drafted, first rounder, there's not a lot of Canadian quarterbacks. I'm sure you've seen the history of it. I'm sure, was there ever a time when someone told you should change positions because Canadian quarterbacks there's not as much of a future. Did you hear that in college at all?
Yeah, I definitely heard it. I heard a lot of people saying, and I think, being a Canadian quarterback was part of the reason, but I also think being an athletic quarterback was just an addition to it. And people were like, oh yeah, like you're not going to succeed in the CFL. You're going to have to play running back or receiver or whatever it is. Right. And talk to me about switching positions, but it wasn't something that I was interested in. I wanted to get an actual shot at quarterback because I felt like I could succeed. And I feel like I've done a pretty decent job so far. So hopefully it's a long career.
Well, yeah, I think pretty decent job for sure. There's not many players who come into a sport and the fans just gravitate towards them because of the excitement level. And you do that. I'm sure you know a guy who wore number 2 before, obviously played a different position, but was, one of the more exciting players. He was barely on the field and people were just like, can't wait till he gets on the field.
Yeah.
Right. And so, that excitement level, like, do you feel that as a player that like I'm an exciting player and, maybe you hear it from your teammates, you probably hear it from scouts, but there's not only are you skilled, but there's an excitement level to your game where there's lots of great quarterbacks who, and everybody's different. They don't necessarily bring the excitement level. They're very effective at what they do.
Yeah, I've been told, multiple times that I'm an exciting player to watch. And I hear it from the fans after the game and everything. I think that's why I have so much fan support. Even though, we have been a losing football team, right? At least, it's an exciting game that you lose versus a game you just lose, right? So I think there's that aspect to it. But then I think also those exciting plays, those are the ones you see on CFL when they tag it on Instagram or TSN or whatever, right? And then you see all these highlight plays and you're like, oh, this guy, we got to go see him in person, right? So I think it's definitely a good thing to be an exciting player. But, I wish we could definitely get a couple more wins.
Who were the quarterbacks that you watched and really enjoyed watching growing up?
I watched a lot of Michael Vick. Thought Michael Vick, was super exciting. Watched Vince Young when he was in college. Watched Russell Wilson, and then I also watch a lot of the current quarterbacks right now in the NFL.
Yeah, you look guys like Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, like the quarterback position. For a long time there was obviously Ricky Ray, then there's Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, like the prototype pocket passers, and that's great. And you still have those guys. Anthony Calvillo obviously was one of the best. Yep. But then you have other guys like Warren Moon was kind of a combination of both. He was a freak. He could do it both, right? And so, you mentioned Vic, Donovan McNabb, and there Patrick Mahomes. Like the game seems to be going to more of we want guys who can pass, and your passer rating and all your completion percentage, that all shows, hey, I'm a passer.
Yeah.
And you don't run nearly as much as people think. Now you scramble away from pressure when you have to.
Yeah.
But do you find that the position requires a little bit more athleticism than maybe 15 or 20 years ago?
I would say yes, just in the sense that I feel like defenses are getting more athletic.
Okay.
Like if you go watch the NFL combine and stuff nowadays, you got defensive ends running 4.4, 4.3s, right? Versus it wasn't like that back in the day, right? So it does require you to be a little bit more athletic, but I still think you can be a pure pocket passer and be successful in football.
Yeah. Trey Ford joins us on Who Is It Wednesday. We'll come back. We'll talk about the transition to the CFL. And much, much more here on the Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook.
Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta? New players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet. Every week, all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310-GLASS or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Often when I meet people at a party or I'm hanging out at my favorite restaurants, I'll introduce myself and they'll say, "Oh, you're Grant Fedoruk from Leading Edge Physio. What can I do about this sore knee?" It's It's been bugging me for months. First, I was thinking, when I'm out like this, I should just tweet my location so people know where to come for a consultation. But then I thought, I'm spending all this money on advertising Leading Edge. Maybe you could come by one of our clinics. That's where we have the technology and really smart physiotherapists who can give you all the advice and treatment you need. Have your people call my people, leadingedgephysio.com.
Are you watching the interest rates these days? Of course you are. Paying less interest leaves money in your pocket. That's why St. Albert Dodge is happy to tell you that right now they have 0% financing on virtually all new 2024 models. Hundreds to choose from: Jeep Compass, Wrangler, Grand Cherokee, and Wagoneer, Dodge Durango, and Hornet, Ram 1500, 2500, 3500, all with 0% financing. Why pay interest? Head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Cross Mitsubishi is giving you a chance to see a hockey game in style.
Just head to Cross Mitsubishi and take a test drive. You'll be entered to win a pair of hockey tickets to a November game, $200 for food and drinks, and 2 Edmonton jerseys of your choice.
Get in the game with Cross Mitsubishi, home of the largest 2024 Mitsubishi inventory in Western Canada and the 10-10-10 warranty.
Visit Cross Mitsubishi today and drive your ambition. 9605 34th Ave and crossmitsubishi.ca.
Diablo Boots in Canada West. 2 great names in work and cowboy boots. For over 60 years, Diablo has been selling the best-made Canadian boots. Diablo has boots from sizes 6E to size 15 EE, just for you. Why buy boots made in China like Ariat, Justin, or Red Wing, when Diablo has the best quality for less, made in Canada? Diablo has work and cowboy boots with replaceable soles and heels for longer life. So, save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard, on the east side of Save On Foods. Hurry in today for best selection.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. This is one big deal for one big pizza. Get an extra large New York style one-topping pizza for only $17.99. Order today at papajohns.ca.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
We continue on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. It is the Jason Gregor Show, as always presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game. It is Lotto 649. Get your tickets, PlayAlberta.ca. And if that's not your thing, you want to go on Game 5 of the World Series, some NHL action tonight, use the promo code Gregor50, and you'll get a free $50 play in the month of October at PlayAlberta.ca. Our guest in studio today, the quarterback for your Edmonton Elks, Trey Ford, joins us on Who Is It Wednesday. And I was learning during the break. So Trey Ford, quarterback by day, handyman at night. So you're all into the home renovation. Wow.
Yeah, 100%. It's actually something I really enjoy. You know, always learning something new, but it's fun. You know, you get to grind it out and then you see the finished product and, you know, you feel good about yourself.
So, and I was asking you, you know, you took sports and recreation in university. So I'm like, okay, well, you didn't take any of this. How did you learn to do like electrical and tile and everything like that?
I learned from my wife's uncle. So he's an engineer and fixes up houses. So everything I know, I learned from him.
You literally just kind of learned on the job. It was like, okay, I'm going to learn how to tile. Here I go.
Yeah, we just, you know, my dad needed a place to stay. So we bought a house in Niagara Falls and then we decided we were going to fix it up. That was part of the plan going forward. And so I spent my off season out there tiling and flooring and plumbing, electrical and everything. So
what is your favorite part of home renovation?
Home renovation, I would say doing the flooring because it's probably the easiest and the fastest and you see the finished product the fastest versus, you know, tiling is a little bit more of a process. And then the plumbing and electrical, you don't really see because it's all behind, you know, behind the drywall and everything.
Like
so.
you're not mudding and taping, are you?
Mudding and painting are my 2 least favorite things.
God.
Those are the worst.
And so you can do like mud and tape. Like I've done drywall and everything, mud and taping. I'm like, nah, I'm hiring that out. I can't do
it. It's definitely the worst one to do, but I mean, it's got to be done, right? And labor prices nowadays are super expensive. So it's nice to be able to do it yourself.
Oh, geez. So, because you mentioned how you have a few properties. You bought a place here in Edmonton. You have some other properties. So, is that kind of, you know, you got the interest in home renovations and real estate? That's kind of something you like to do on the side?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and definitely planning on, you know, getting a couple more houses over the next couple of years and, you know, getting some more short-term rentals going.
What other interests does Trey Ford have away from football?
If I'm not doing house renovations, I'm not with my daughter, and I'm not playing football, I'm probably playing video games.
Video game. What is your go-to video game?
My favorite one is 2K, NBA 2K.
Okay.
So playing basketball. But then Call of Duty's also in there. A lot of the guys like to play Call of Duty. And I kind of just get on and chat with the guys and game up a little bit. So
who is the best gamer on the Elks?
I think it depends on the game. I'm in 2K, nobody's touching me on 2K. I'm untouchable on 2K.
Okay.
In the park though.
Okay.
So not the 5v5 when you play with your one solo guy.
So you're one-on-one, that's you.
One-on-one, that's me.
Okay.
But then other than that, I'm actually really good in Call of Duty. I think Justin Rankin might be a little bit better than me. And then I heard Joel DeBlanco's pretty good. I haven't played with him yet.
Okay.
But those are the only two I think that might be better than me on the team.
Okay. Speaking of Rankin, like you bring guys in, and he was here in camp, and then he left, and then he came back. And when you came in, Rankin leaked, like the running game took off. And very different style runners, right? Like Leak's got lots of speed, but like Rankin, he pops a punch for a smaller guy as a running back.
Yeah, I mean, he's not the tallest guy, but he is, he's a well-built dude, and he's a guy that I wouldn't want to tackle. I mean, I don't want to tackle anybody to begin with, but like if he was running, I had to meet somebody in the hole. He's probably the last person that I want to meet in the hole.
So now, you mentioned tackling. So we talked about your college career. Then you get drafted by the Elks. When you got drafted by the Elks, was it a surprise? Had you talked to them? Were you expecting them to take you? Kind of take me back to your draft year.
Yeah. So I did end up talking to Jones and everything, and I knew Edmonton was a possibility, especially once they traded their first pick and then got an additional later round first pick and everything. I thought it was a possibility, and then I kind of had an interview that was kind of weird.
What was weird about it?
Well, it was just it was actually kind of a whole mess, because when I showed up to the CFL Combine, they ask you what day you're going to get there so you can book your room. And I got there and I went to go check in, and like, sorry, we don't have your room booked. And I'm like, okay, but you guys told me to come on, I think it was Friday. And they're like, yeah, we don't have a room for you. Sorry, you can't stay here tonight. So then I just booked my own room, and then I stayed there in my room. So Terrell was my roommate.
Okay.
But I just, my wife was going to come to the Combine anyways.
Right.
So she ended up coming. So I just stayed in that room. And then, I went to go check in for my medical, and they're like, no, so you can't do your medical. You're not till tomorrow. If a spot opens up later, you can come. And I was like, okay, it's fine. I'll just go out with my wife tonight for dinner. And so I went out for dinner. Then I came back the next day, and we had the medical in the morning and everything. And then we have our meetings with the coaches and stuff. And they're like, yeah, I heard you didn't want to stay in the CFL provided hotel room and this and that. And I heard you skipped your medical and went to a Raptors game. And I was like, I didn't even go to a Raptors game. I went out for dinner with my wife. So it was a little bit of a whole confusion kind of thing, I think. I'm not 100% sure what happened, but I thought it was kind of funny. But I also didn't think Edmonton was going to draft me after that, because I was like, well, they seemed pretty mad about it. And I wasn't going to sit there and, argue with them about, oh, no, I didn't go there. I did this. I did that. Right. So it was kind of, just how it went.
Wow. That's so somebody have given him wrong information, obviously. And so then when you get drafted, you came to your first camp, and you started out on special teams as a gunner. When was the last time you'd been in any position where you had to tackle someone prior to that?
That's a great question. I really don't know. Maybe I think when you're really young, you have to do the tackling drills. They make everybody do them. So, so probably that.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
because you told me that you played safety one time in your young career in minor football, and you missed a tackle, and then the coach pulled you out.
That was in high school, but we didn't like, everybody just assumed I could tackle because I've been playing football for 10 years at that point or whatever it was. But I missed one tackle, and it took me out, and that was kind of it.
Yeah. So tackling's a little bit harder than it looks, is what you're saying.
Definitely a little bit harder than when you look. And I'm tackling DBs and stuff when I throw interceptions. I don't have to tackle Justin Rankin when he's coming out of the backfield, so it's probably a little bit easier.
Trey Ford joined us. So you came in and you were on special teams. Now, I get it. You're a young player. You're drafted. And, we've seen Jones had put many quarterbacks on special teams at times. I guess he felt like, hey, if you're on the roster, might as well get you to do something. I always kind of found it odd. But there was talk that they had asked you to switch positions. What were those conversations like early on?
I did get asked, but it was a pretty short conversation. They kind of asked me if I was interested, and I said I wasn't, and that was kind of it. So it wasn't like there was a huge kind of deal around it. They just asked me, I said no, and that was it.
Yeah, because they'd asked you to play. Was it receiver? I'm
Yeah,
assuming.
receiver, yeah.
Okay, and like you'd never played receiver. Like catching the ball is pretty hard, I would think.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it's,
your hands are all right.
yeah, I feel like I can catch a decent. I'm sure guys on my team would say I can't catch it, but you know how it goes.
Yeah. So, well, yeah. Which one of your receivers would be the best throwing?
I'm gonna have to actually give it to Gino. Gino takes pride in his throwing. He can actually throw the ball pretty well.
Okay.
I seen Curly do a throw, and it was not super great.
Right.
So, and then I saw Germ warm up because Germ was his replacement to come in and do the throwing play, and he didn't look great either. So I'm definitely going to go with Gino.
Okay. And so the reason I asked that question, because if you have Trey Ford, at some point you might see the quarterback runs a pitch it back, and now you're running downfield. So who's going to throw to you, right? Maybe it's one of your running backs. I don't know if Leak or Rankin can throw the ball at all, but
nah, I'm not trusting them to throw the ball
not trusting
either.
those guys either. Okay. So now you come to the CFL. And you're asked to play receiver. You're like, no thanks, which makes sense. And we had talked about it earlier that a Canadian quarterback, there's a little bit of a bias from some people that you can't do it. Do you still feel that a little bit that you might have to prove yourself more than an American quarterback, or is that outsiders overblowing that?
Honestly, I'm not 100% sure because I don't like to think about it. I don't like to use that as an excuse.
Okay.
But then, I do go back and I look and I'm like, well, I've played in, X amount of games and I feel like I've played all right. Right. And then, I'm looking at other quarterbacks and I'm like, oh, this guy's getting this contract. This guy's getting this contract. I can't even keep my starting job. And I feel like I played okay.
Right.
So it's kind of like, it's up and down. I think, it's kind of in the back of my head, but I try not to think about it.
It is, and in pro sports, it's that way a lot of times, right? Sometimes you need somebody who believes in you and believes in your ability of what you can do as a player. And that in itself is a huge building block for any player. If you know that the guy who's coaching you or your OC really believes in you, you're not worried as much to make a mistake, I would assume.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's honestly probably the biggest thing, especially for a younger quarterback, just to have a coach that, truly believes in you and thinks you're capable of doing everything on the field, right? I think that's why I had a lot of success in high school and I had a lot of success in university was probably because of those two factors. I mean, I still talk to my head coach from high school and Chris Bertoya from university probably weekly, right? Like I give them phone calls sometimes before the games and whatever it is. And then once I go back to Ontario, I go out there, I support my high school team. I go back, I hang out with my university players and coaches and everything. So
Trey Ford joins us. And so Trey, let's kind of go, you had to sit there and, most guys, I don't care what position you're at, very few guys come in as a rookie and play right away. So I'm sure you're expecting, hey, I'm going to learn some things. And you know what, then you come into your second year and the team's 0-8 and then you finally get an opportunity. Kind of take me through what your mindset was, because for those 10 games, the team went from 0-8 to go to 4-6, which is a monumental improvement. And, the fan base gets excited. The team's having some success. You're having some individual success. Kind of what was the biggest learning curve in those 10 games, not this past season, but the year before?
I think that the biggest thing is adjusting to defenses, right? Because in youth sports football, you'll see a lot of cover 3, cover 4. That's pretty much it. And then you come down here, you'll see cover 10, you'll see cover 2, you'll see 3 double cut, you'll see 4, you'll see sting, cover 0. Like there's so many more defenses to see. And I feel like pre-snap gives you a lot more information up here than it does in youth sports.
Okay.
So I think that was probably the biggest thing. And I think it really just comes down to having that aspect of reading defenses, but then also fully understanding your own offense, right? It's hard to go in your first year and understand the offense and be able to, go through your progression, then boom, get back down, you're running back on the check down.
Right.
Right. Which is why I feel like earlier on in my CFL career, you probably seen more rushing.
Yes.
Right. More rushing attempts from me, just scrambling and getting out of the pocket. Just because, it's hard to get through 4 reads on a play. Right. Like a lot of guys like, oh no, a pure passer gets through that easy. And that's like, no, like they get sacked too. Right.
Right.
Versus, some more mobile guys can get out. Right. But then it's every time I get out of the pocket and scramble, oh, he can't read defenses. All he can do is run. And then when unmobile guy does it, it's, oh, wow, look, he's still slightly mobile. Like he can get out of the pocket and extend the play, but I don't extend the play. I just look to run. So it kind of, goes hand in hand with each other. But I think the big thing is definitely the defense and then fully understanding your offense.
Well, and gaining trust in yourself. You mentioned reading all 4 options in one time. Like, I don't know if you can do that right off the hop, right? Like, it's a progression, and how can you? And this is a hard question, maybe to give an exact answer to, but you can run the offense in practice.
Yep.
But then when you do it in a game, it's way faster. Guys are actually going to hit you in a game, right? Like, guys aren't going to hit their own quarterback in practice, or at least they're not supposed to.
Yeah.
What's the difference from running maybe Skelly and then in a game? Is it like Skelly's 75% of a game? Is it 80%? Is it 50%? Like, how much can you gain from running that in practice compared to what you actually see at game speed?
I would maybe say like 65%. It's not too much, just in the sense that, like, when you're in Skelly, there's no O-line in front of you. There's no D-line. You're not worried about a rush. You can see everything clearly, right? Especially being a smaller quarterback myself, right? You need to see those throwing lanes, and now you're worried about pressure. And now, instead of just seeing the 7 DBs and reading the defense, now you got to see the linebackers and the fronts and everything, right? So there's a lot more to see. And I think that's why pre-snap is so important. And it's not even that I think these more veteran quarterbacks are going 1, 2, 3, 4 in their progression. They just see something pre-snap that tells them, okay, 1 and 2 are dead. I'm going to start with 3 and 4.
Okay.
Right. So I think it's eliminating who's going to be covered based on the defense, and then getting to who's going to be open.
So a lot of the times it's process of elimination on which of the routes is going to be available at this time.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it comes down to, right? I mean, there's certain things you can see, like if you see cover 10, so 1 high safety, and it's all manned up, like that's a great time, especially if they're pressed, to take your vertical routes, your corners, your fade routes, whatever it is, right? Versus like digs aren't great because the DB is going to be sitting slightly inside leverage, so it's more likely you're going to hit outbreaker, right? So just small things like that, and just learning that over it, because I didn't see that in university.
Yeah.
So it's like, when I got to see it at CFL level and learn from it, right? So it's just learning little things like that from each defense you see.
Trey Ford joined us, and so you see that, and like, how much film work do you have to really put in before it becomes like, I can pick it up in that 5-second span, right? Like, that's the other thing. It's not like you get to sit here and be like, okay, we're coming up line of scrimmage. I got 40 seconds to figure out what they're doing. You literally got like 7, sometimes 6, 5, depending on when you break the huddle.
Yeah, for sure. I think a big part of it, like I said, is recognizing that defense, right? And being able to capitalize and just getting a lot of reps at it. Because, if you go out there and it's like the first time you've seen cover 2 and the coach is telling you, oh, it's cover 2, that doesn't do anything for you, right? So to get those reps, right? Say I've watched a lot of film in my 3 years that I've been here, right? So now when I see a team playing cover 2, it's like I don't have to study that cover 2 as much, because I've already seen cover 2 now. I know where my answers are in cover 2. I just check it down. Okay, cover 2 on second and medium. Right. Versus like, okay, it's cover 2. Oh, got to be aware of my outbreakers and a possible seam down the middle. Right. So it's less film the longer you've been here, because you've seen more things.
Right. Yeah. So probably, and I would say less mental reps. So do you almost feel fresher in a way when you have more experience? There's not as much like, like we see it all the time, they show it and the guys like circling around. There's all these thoughts in your head bounced around. Is it clear? Do you find, like, was Trey Ford this season, was it much clearer than it was last year?
Oh yeah, for sure. I feel like the game is definitely slowing down and becoming more clear for sure. And I think, a lot of that is getting live game reps and, getting the live reps in practice. The mental reps are great, but it's not the same thing. It's not the same caliber of competition and everything when you're in there. So those are definitely crucial for a younger quarterback. And I think it's actually helped in some ways that we have been a losing football team, just in the sense that, if you're a quarterback that has to go in and you're right on the brink, say you got to play the last 3 games and your team needs to win 2 of the 3 games to get into the playoffs, right? There's a lot more pressure for a young quarterback to go in and execute. And then, when you get thrown in your team's 0-8 situation, you're really just going to go out there and play football, right? Because the worst thing you can do is lose and go, you're 0-9, right? But if you win, everybody's like, oh, 1-8. Wait, hold up a second, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like it's good to play when you feel like you have nothing to lose, but you also have to get to that point where you can execute and play at a high level when you do have something to lose.
And you've played in games where you've had something to lose.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
So it's not like you haven't experienced that before. Trade Ford with us. We'll take another quick break here on the Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website, PlayAlberta.ca.
Day or night, tasting just so right. You can order food on it. adoodle-doodle.ca. Delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order oodle-noodle at oodle-noodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order oodle-noodle.ca. Oodle-noodle.
Ain't it beautiful? The inventory is unprecedented. Volvo Cars Edmonton is proud to boast an amazing selection of in-stock Volvo XC40s, 60s, and 90s. Visit Volvo Cars Edmonton today and experience the exemplary service you've come to expect and the affordable luxury only found with Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winners. Experience the difference.
Volvo of Edmonton.
Find the perfect tractor for any job at Edmonton Kubota. Their massive selection of compact tractors has something for everyone, whether you're tackling small tasks or big projects. And right now, take advantage of 0% financing for up to 72 months. It's never been easier to get the power and reliability you need. Come down to Edmonton Kubota today and drive away with the tractor that's just right for you. Edmonton Kubota, where your perfect tractor awaits.
Edmonton's premium live music and party venue is
On the Rocks.
Check out Bingo Tunes on Monday. Perform on the best stage in town with karaoke on Wednesdays. Learn how to salsa with Salsa Rocks on Thursdays. And every weekend, OTR goes live.
With your favorite bands on the OTR stage and DJ Kenny K.
For everything that's going on at On the Rocks, give us a follow.
Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
At On the Rocks, EDM.
Eat well, party hard.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Open every day till 2 a.m.
The Canada-wide clearance is on at GMC. Get a $7,500 cash credit on 2024 Sierra 1500 Crew Cab elevation models. With Sierra's 13.4-inch diagonal premium GMC infotainment system with Google built-in compatibility, available off-road package with hill descent control, plus an available 3-liter Duramax diesel engine, you can take the road less traveled and try new things, like fishing or whitewater rafting. I should have gone fishing. Ask your GMC dealer for details.
I couldn't ignore it. Everyone kept saying, "You look so tired."
Are you getting enough sleep, dear?
Hon, you look like you need some rest.
But I'm not tired. I guess I just look that way.
But you don't have to. I'm Dr. Vance Elliott, and I provide skin refreshing treatments designed to give you a fresh and natural appearance. Don't worry, we won't drastically change how you look, but we will help you look as energetic as you feel. Book your consultation today at drvanceelliott.com.
River Cree is the place for all your favorite sports. River Cree Resort and Casino, featuring UFC action and boxing live on the big screens at Tap 25, the MVP of sports bars, and in the Center Bar. Plus, catch this fall's biggest games. Every goal, every tackle, every home run. River Cree is also home to the Twin Rinks, where rec hockey and community teams come to play. Public skating available. Details at rivercreeresort.com.
River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement. Bet on it.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. We offer sale, rental, repair, and calibration of hydraulic, pneumatic, and battery-powered torque wrenches, stud tensioners, and flange maintenance equipment. Order today at cantork.com.
Pro sports, local sports, minor leagues, you got it all. It's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
We continue on. Who is it Wednesday? Very special guest, Trey Ford from the Elks in studio with us. Trey, thanks so much for giving us an hour of your time. We talked about a lot of things, and Dennis Jack said, hey, guys, Trey Ford's taught me more about the QB position than any TV panel. Mr. Ford has a future in broadcasting when he's done playing from Dennis. So it was true. Like you explain it because there's lots of people who like football, but don't really understand. Like when someone says cover 10, a lot of people, myself included, I'm like, I know what cover 2 is enough, but what the hell is cover 10? But then you explain, I was like, thank God I don't have to ask the question. But it explains exactly, and people can picture it. All right, safety over the back, everybody else is man-to-man, cover 10. Now anybody out there, you'll be like, oh, I think they're in cover 10. And you feel better as a fan when you watch the game because you kind of know what to look for a little bit. So it's very good that you can explain it to the layman like myself and everybody else, so we understand it. So I appreciate that. Kind of looking at your time here, and people joked on the station that you're so pro Trey Ford, and I'll blatantly admit it. I'm like, yeah, I'm pro guys who are good, and I saw lots of potential, and all of your stats, the Winnipeg game was a learning curve for sure. What was it about the Bombers defense that was so challenging? Because every other game before and every other game after, really good numbers. What was it that the Bombers did that was a good learning experience for you?
Yeah, so I think for starters, you have to give a big shout out to Winnipeg's defense. They've done a great job shutting down a variety of quarterbacks around the league, right? And I think we just had a tough situation when we played them because we like to really establish our run game, and we identify ourselves as a run team, right? And so a lot of our first downs are run plays, and if the run play works, great. But the issue is if it doesn't work, then you're stuck in 2nd and 9, 10, 11, whatever it is, right? And then they would do a lot of 30 fronts, so 3 down linemen, and then drop 9 guys. And so you can only send 5 receivers on routes, right? So now you're outnumbered to the field, right? You got your 3 receivers, they got 5 DBs. You go to the boundary, you got 2 receivers, they got 4 DBs, right? So there's not going to be a lot of people open. And then even those linebackers who are dropping in those zones are still able to rally and get down the field if you do run as a quarterback, right? Which I'm capable of doing, but they can come downhill and make the tackle. And they also have a phenomenal D-line, so they can get pressure with 3 guys, right? So if you look at a lot of the times where we were throwing the ball, it was 2nd and long, and they were playing really good defense. If it's 2nd and 9, they'll give up a 5-yard hitch or hook, whatever you want to call it, right? Yeah. And then just rally and make a tackle, but then either way, you're still punting, right? But then, we game plan to have a lot of double moves to try to get them down the field. But then those double moves that you're, breaking at 14, then at 20 is like, it's taking a long time. And now there's a little bit of pressure. And it's, it was a tough situation. I feel like, I wish we could have maybe ran the ball a little bit more on 2nd and long. Not saying that it would have got us more first downs, but it would have made us less predictable when we thrown more on first down, right? And just get out of our habits, because they were ready for what we were doing. And I think that's part of the reason why they finished number 1 in the West. They came back from, I think, 0-4, 0-5 starts. So they're a good football team.
Oh, no, they're very good. And you know what? The quarterback position, we've seen like in college football, especially in the U.S., and very few guys call their own plays, right? Quarterbacks used to have a lot more say in what they'd call. And I've talked to some OCs, and they want their quarterback to have that. Mike Riley talked about it. He was maybe one of the last guys who really liked having a say in calling some of his plays. Clearly you have a mind for the game. How important is that? Or to maybe at least have, the trust with your OC that sometimes it's like, okay, you know what's called isn't the right play. I'm going to audible out into something else. Does that happen in year 3 or 4? Can it happen earlier? And how important is it? Like, do you feel the quarterback still sees the game different than somebody else just because you're in the game?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's super easy, to be that guy that goes and looks at the iPad and goes, you should have thrown the ball here. Like, it's super easy, right? And I feel like as a coach, like, you have to be able to coach them how to get to that. But yeah, like, I think it's just something that comes with more experience, right? Like McLeod done it. He's probably did it like 4 or 5 times throughout the year. He changed his own play, but yeah, usually, the OC calls the play and you kind of just roll with it.
Yeah.
Right. And, just with the situation that I was in, right. I'm not sure if I'm going to be started. Like, I'd go in sometimes weeks not knowing if I'm going to start or if I'm going to start. Right. And so I didn't want to, go out there and risk being wrong and changing the play and then, get in trouble or whatever it is, and then lose my starting job. So I would always just roll with the play that we had called. I do see myself in the future and at some point being able to make those calls and, identifying cover 2 and getting to a cover 2 beater, right? Or, seeing whatever defense, seeing a cover 10 press man defense and being able to take a vertical shot, right? So I think it's going to be over time and experience and trust in getting to that state. And I think, again, that's why Tom Brady had so much success, right? Like, he was able to do that. He would change the play at the line, no problem, right? And I think, we've gotten away from that, but I think quarterbacks do need to get back to that because they do see the game from a different view.
Yeah, there's things that you just can't see from the sideline that you're going to see from directly behind. And that's why even now when we watch the game on TV, most of the camera angles come from the side. They don't come from behind. And from behind is just a completely different viewpoint. You see it a few times now, the NFL and even some college, a few CFL games where they have the camera above, right? So it gives you a better sense of actually what the quarterback is seeing from their vantage point, not the vantage point 90-degree angle. And it's got to be different, right? Like even like when you watch film and you're watching the camera angle from that side, is it easily to decipher how different it looks for you?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like when you're watching that side angle, say you have like a cutter concept, like a clear out and a post coming in, and he does have some separation from the linebacker, some depth, right? But then you go to like the end zone view, which is like the quarterback view, and you're looking at it and it looks cloudy. It looks like that guy, has leverage on the post coming inside, and it looks like he's taken away. But then from the sideline view, it looks like he's wide open, right? So it's kind of that's where you kind of have to, get the reps and develop that trust with the receiver and put it to a spot, because technically the throw doesn't look open, but you got to throw them open to the spot, right? And that again just comes with reps.
Well, to me, that would be the hardest thing, is trusting that the guy's going to get to the spot where you throw it as a quarterback.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's the one of the benefits of being a quarterback, and one of the cons, right? Like you have to rely on other people to do your job well, but they can also make you look really good, right? But so you get all the credit, but you get all the blame too. So it kind of comes with the position, so you just gotta embrace it all.
Trey Ford joins us now. Trey, early in the year there was a rumor, and it came out that because they were 0-7 and you hadn't beaten any of the games, and there was a story that they asked him to run a set of plays, and you said no, and I remember I'm like, well, that just seemed odd to me. So did that actually occur?
I was asked to do a package, and the only question I asked was, does it involve passing? And I was told yes. And then I said, yeah, I'll do the package. And I came in the next day, and the media said I said no to the package and everything, and there was no package. So I was a little bit confused, because I did say I would do the package, but I mean, it's just how it goes. Like, I didn't say no to playing special teams my first year. I played special teams, and that wasn't even to do with quarterback or carrying the ball, right?
Yeah.
So, I did say yes to the package, but I'm not going to get into he said, she said.
Yeah, we have lots of fans who are worried. A lot of texts coming in at 833-401-1440, and many of them obviously want you to come back. The Elks own your exclusive negotiating rights up until free agency, but we don't know who the not the quarterback. We don't know who the GM is. We don't know who that coach is. Are you kind of in a wait and see mode as well for yourself? In your exit interviews with Rick LaLacheur and G. Roy Simon, has there been any conversation at all about the future of Trey Ford in Edmonton?
I haven't actually heard anything about an extension. I mean, my agents said they've talked to him a little bit, but I haven't actually seen anything concrete or heard anything concrete. So still waiting in that aspect, and just talking to some teammates. A lot of them feel like I should go to free agency and just test it out and see how it goes. I'm undecided on exactly what I'm going to do. I don't really know yet. I mean, I hope there's more information, in the next couple weeks or whatever.
Yeah, obviously once it's announced who the GM is, I'm assuming that would speed up the process either way, right? Is that fair?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a big piece for it. I think you need a president, right, to come in and get the GM and get the head coach, whether we keep who we have or if we get new coaches and a GM. But I think either way, you need one of those to happen in order to move forward with extending people and seeing where the future of the Elks go.
Do you feel if G. Roy Simon and Jarius Jackson came back that they have the belief in you to be the starting quarterback for the Edmonton Elks?
That's a great question. It's, really not mine to answer. I don't know if they feel like I am that starting quarterback or if they feel like I'm not, right? It's a question for them. I don't want to speak for them. So
you feel that you're a CFL starting quarterback. All the numbers back it up. Anybody who listens to the show knows where I feel on the standpoint of that. When we look at Trey Ford's young career and the evolution, like most rookies, your first year, you threw a lot of picks. It happens. But your touchdown to interception ratio has improved, and it's basically identical the last two seasons. It was 12-6 and 10-5. But your quarterback rating, your completion yards per completion is up. Your completion percentage is up. Where do you feel you improved the most as a quarterback this year?
I think it was mostly just, like people say, throwing from the pocket. I think it was not even that I couldn't throw from the pocket before. It's just being more comfortable in the offense and, eliminating pre-snap reads and finding who's going to be open sooner, right? Versus trying to sit back and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I can go 2, 3, 4, right? And eliminate some things, right? So it makes you more efficient back there as a quarterback, knowing certain routes are going to be dead and just to play these ones and read it out. And it makes it easier on the quarterback position. And, I might be biased, but I'm a firm believer in making plays as simple and easy as possible for the quarterback because it's the hardest position to play, right? So the easier it can be on the quarterback, I think the better it is for the offense.
I noticed in your last few starts, the little touch pass, the little floater we saw, Talik that sprung him. I saw an evolution in a lot of your throws. Where do you feel like everybody has a certain favorite throw? Do you have one? If you're just like, when I line up and if they call this one, they're like, oh, yeah, we're hitting this one all day long. Do you have a few that are your favorites?
Yeah, so honestly, my favorite one's actually pretty simple, especially when it's press man, is just throwing a go ball, just running straight. When it's press man, because the DB, usually if you outside release, the DB is going to turn his head and keep his eyes on you if it's man, right? So then he can't see the ball. So you really don't have to be super accurate when you throw it. You just got to put it up and give the receiver a chance in a catchable spot because the DB can't see it, so he's not picking it.
Okay, so you kind of got to know what your receiver's speed is.
Yeah, it's kind of like the one I threw to Gino a couple days ago in the red zone.
Right.
The DB turned, didn't have his eyes to the quarterback, and then I just put it back shoulder for Gino, and he was able to go up and make the play.
Where did Bethel Thompson help you the most this year? I remember I read an article you talked about, just like, especially when you got to play finally, just what were some of the veteran tips that a quarterback who's been in there, was just in there the week before, and then obviously was in there some of the weeks after. Where did he help you?
The biggest one for him, there's probably two. One would be like in the film room, right? Just studying defenses and how they play. And then the other one, I don't even know if it was so much of just a veteran thing, but just the support he had for me.
Okay.
Right. Like the big one, like, whether, he was dressing or not, and I was playing, he's talking to me. Oh, like, is there anything you want me to tell J-Jack? Anything you feel like we need to get to? Anything this, right? And he was just super supportive of me the whole time, which, I mean, I'm extremely grateful for, because he could have came in and just been like, oh, I'm not starting no more. Like, it is what it is. You know what I mean? But he was super supportive of me the entire year. So I'm actually super appreciative for him.
Trey, I really appreciate you coming in studio today. Learned lots about you as the handyman. So anybody out there, do you hire out your handyman services? Have you got to that point yet?
No, not yet. Not yet. I don't know if I want to get to that point.
Well, I know Elks fans are all saying, please get a GM. So we know that they obviously would like to see you come back to Edmonton. Has a long history of being a really dominant franchise. Obviously, the last few years hasn't been there. But with the new ownership, quickly, give me your thought. Did you see your owner drive the fire truck through the Calgary bench? And how much of a chuckle did that give your team?
Yeah, honestly, I think it was just funny seeing him driving in general, because he started on our side and it was funny, and he was kind of trying to throw some balls out there too, which was funny. But I didn't even know it was actually a big deal that he couldn't drive on the other side. Like, I didn't even know that.
No, it's never happened.
But yeah, then I started hearing about it, and now all the time at the games they're making jokes about it and everything. I thought it was actually pretty funny.
Did you notice you met Larry, like having an individual owner? Does that kind of change things, you feel, at all for your group?
I'm really not sure, because we've only been community owned.
Yeah,
I think that's what you
the
call
whole
it.
time. Yeah, up until Larry came in.
So up until he's come, and I don't think there's been too many changes yet, right? I think it's hard to make a lot of changes mid-season, so I think a lot more changes are coming in the future. But yeah, I'm not too sure how a single owner operates in the CFL, so I'm really not sure, but excited to see.
Well, Trey Ford, we really hope that you're back as the quarterback for the Elks next season. If not, we'll see you in the CFL somewhere. Very exciting player. The league needs more exciting players. And lastly, your brother's in the West Final. Will you be in the crowd watching your Tyrell?
Yeah, that's the plan. To finish up some house renovations, and then head down there to watch the game in Winnipeg.
Will you wear a Bombers Ford jersey?
No, I was actually just thinking about that. Probably not. I'm probably going to wear some type of Ford shirt.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll see though. We'll see how it goes.
Like if he gave you one, you might have to wear it. It's your twin brother. Because I
would rather wear like a black shirt with like a picture of him in his like Winnipeg gear.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah,
like
that's fair. No,
Winnipeg
I get it. Yeah. Like I get why you
know?
wouldn't, but I could see why he would try to make you. Like that would be the ultimate kind of just like fun little, sibling joke. And then you'd be like, God, one day I got to get even. But I could see him like when you show up and he's like, hey, Trey, I got a shirt for you.
Yeah. So we'll see. Hopefully we can play together at some point in the CFL.
Well, that was going to be my next question. If that's something, you time out free agency and stuff, would that be a goal of your guys? I know that, you'd be on the field at different times, but you're playing together. Is that something at some point in your careers you'd like to have happen?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'd definitely be interested in playing with my brother. So that's part of the reason why I want to go to free agency and just feel things out and see everything, just to, see what he's doing. He's a free
agent same time.
Yeah, he's coming out as a free agent this year.
So he could come to Edmonton.
He could come to Edmonton, yeah. So
all right.
we'll have to wait and see. Go get Tyrell. Go get Tyrell.
There you go. Trey Ford, thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Perfect. Thank you. Appreciate you.
There you go. Let's get to the Con-Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. Stop in at Fountain Tire right now. It's winter change your tire. Did you know it's the 7 and 7? When it is 7 degrees or lower for 7 straight days, that's when they recommend you change to your winter tires. You get better grip, winter tires. Get yours installed today, fountaintire.com.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
For multiple reports, Edmonton Elks will hire veteran offensive lineman Chris Morris as the team's next president and CEO. Morris spent the last 11 seasons as head coach of the U of A Golden Bears football team. The Edmonton Oilers are making it official today as Connor McDavid expected to miss 2 to 3 weeks with an ankle injury he suffered on Monday night against the Columbus Blue Jackets. The Oilers back in action tomorrow, taking on the Preds in Nashville. Elsewhere around the NHL tonight, you got the Jackets and Islanders, the Jets in Detroit, Avs host the Lightning, Flames take on the Utah Hockey Club, Kings Golden Knights, and the Devils Canucks. Major League Baseball, it is Game 5 of the World Series. From the Bronx, first pitch, 6:08. The Dodgers can wrap this one up with a win, leading 3-1. And then the Association Raptors take on the Hornets. That gets going just after 5 o'clock. In the WHL, the Edmonton Oil Kings are in action, taking on Spokane. That gets going just after 8 o'clock tonight. And in the AJ Fort Mac, heads to Lloyd, taking on the Bobcats.
Sports 1540. Stingray Radio Station. CKJR. Broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Raise a smoothie to any friend you've had since 1999. That's a good friend. And Booster Juice was there. Now celebrating 25 years in Canada and more than 450 locations from coast to coast. A silver anniversary splashed with lots of oranges. Celebrate 25 years of Booster Juice with the return of OG favorite smoothies like the Marathon, the Original, and the Orangesicle. Made with oranges, orange sorbet, and vanilla frozen yogurt. Happy 25th Booster Juice. Download the Booster Rewards app today.
Excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
Oodle Noodle origins. In 1864, Francis Oodle took over his dying father's business as a leatherman. He was quite proficient, but his heart was never truly in the trade. After his father's death, Oodle met a cocksure young man named Vladimir Nudell, who was a trailblazer in the popular new art of food boxes. They formed a partnership and aimed to ply their trade in the new world. At Ellis Island, Nudell was renamed David Noodle, and henceforth, the franchise has been known as Oodle Noodle.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Introducing the Female Super League. Female hockey is on the rise with more women playing the game than ever. Join us as we pave the way for the future of women's hockey. The FSL is more than a game. It's a movement and an experience for the motivated female athlete. Teams will compete in a showcase-style format featuring consistent interprovincial competition. Come be part of the journey as the 2024-25 season unveils a 12U division, as well as the launch of a groundbreaking progressive body-checking 14U division. For more information, visit FemaleSuperLeague.com.
You can't predict exactly how your harvest will go. So here's the next best thing, InvigorResults.ca. Featuring localized and replicated trial results, you can see how InVigor canola hybrids could perform in your fields. But more importantly, the results demonstrate our consistent track record and undisputed leadership, giving you the confidence to flex your harvest muscle season after season. Go to InVigorResults.ca to see results in your area today.
The Canada-wide clearance is on at GMC. Get a $7,500 cash credit on 2024 Sierra 1500 Crew Cab elevation models. With Sierra's 13.4-inch diagonal premium GMC infotainment system with Google built-in compatibility, available off-road package with hill descent control, plus an available 3-liter Duramax diesel engine, you can take the road less traveled and try new things, like fishing or whitewater rafting. I should have gone fishing. Ask your GMC dealer for details.
Well, put the fire to his feet. Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio. The team in Old Strathcona have special training dedicated to reducing the impact of cancer care before, during, and after your diagnosis, from lymphedema to the
Welcome back. Jason Gregor. Sorry, I was having a chat with Trey Ford there afterwards. Really enjoyed having him in studio. Loved his honesty. I was very, very questioning that story that a player would turn down the opportunity to get in the game. So we got his side. It's always good to get both sides of a story. I think that is very important. Interesting news, of course, if you heard it, Con Manhattan's, we were talking about, I was going to wait until, because I know there was a big emergency meeting that was called at the university today. They had a team meeting, and Chris Morris, of course, is leaving the university and is going to be the new president and CEO of the Edmonton Elks. And, of course, his first order of business is to hire a general manager, right? You get the GM first, then the GM hires the coach. That should be the pecking order. And I would think, you know what, Chris Morris, I'm sure they've had conversations in the interview process on who are some of the guys he has on a short list. And then you get to that right away, because that's going to be crucial for to see just kind of what's going to happen, because you need a quarterback, man. It's pretty obvious. They need a quarterback and many other positions, but definitely a quarterback. 412, Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Let's get to the voice of the Oil Kings, Matt Barrett. We talk a little WHL. Matt, how you doing, Matt?
I'm doing wonderful. Thanks for having me.
Hey, I appreciate it. The Oil Kings, let's kind of talk about their season. They got off to a little bit of a slow start, but they seem to be kind of starting to find their way a little bit more here lately.
Yeah, I think once the guys got back from NHL camps, kind of that second, third weekends of the year, they started, finding their groove a little bit more. They were scoring goals a little bit more, and they've especially found the back of the net a little bit more recently, especially in the last two games on this U.S. swing. So I think this is a team that's, projecting upwards at the moment. They're getting better as the season goes on, I think. And with a team like this, that's what you want to see, is that this team's in that next step of their development process where they're trying to, make the playoffs and make a run. And that's where they are, kind of in that hill of going up. And, it's good to see they're really starting to find a groove, I think, right now.
So, you mentioned, lately they're on that lengthy road trip out east, and, they dominated Portland, and then had a, really exciting game, losing in overtime to Tri-Cities. But most importantly, you look at them and their offense now has kind of found their stride a little bit with 19 goals in their last 4 games. Because I know, having talked to Kurt Hill early on, he expected his team to be offensive. It just kind of seemed to take a while to get going.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that Tri-City game was probably not for the faint of heart for some coaches, probably a tough one on the heart for coaches, but as a fan, as a broadcaster, it was awesome. It was unbelievable. It was one of the best games I've called recently. But yeah, when a team can score goals, and they can kind of score it in a few different ways, the power play's starting to go. Like Grayson Sauchin and Gavin Hodnett are electric. And, when Miroslav Holinka's scoring, you go down the lineup and there's a lot of different guys who could step up on any given night and get you a couple goals if you need.
Looking ahead for the Oil Kings tonight, of course, they're in Spokane, and then they got Seattle on Friday. Give me a little bit of a preview of what to expect tonight against the Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, Chiefs have Berkeley Catton, right? The Seattle Kraken first rounder. So, exciting to, see a player like that. Spokane just came back from their Eastern road swing out in Saskatchewan and Manitoba. So, but they've gotten off to a pretty good start this year as well, 9-5. So, another tough test for Edmonton. And, I think they would have liked the extra point in Tri-City, obviously. I think they felt like they deserved it. So I think maybe heading into tonight, they're able to maybe exact some frustration on Spokane and grab those 2 points like they would have hoped on Monday night as well.
Shea Van Olm's the guy you got to be. I think he's got 11 goals in 14 games for them.
Yeah, he's leading the way for them right now, and the former Edmonton Oil King as well, right? So there's another storyline you can look at as well, and I'm sure he'll be ready to go against his former club. But yeah, he's one of the top scorers in the league right now. Him and Catton seem to be the straw that stirs the drink for the Chiefs right now.
Looking at the goaltending now, who's going in goal tonight for the Oil Kings?
It's going to be Alex Worthington tonight. He's been excellent to start this year. I mean, it's one of those things where every night he shows how solid of a goaltender he is. He's consistent and gives the team a chance to win every night. It's been pretty good to watch.
And you look at their backup, young Hudson Perry, where you kind of see this one where now with Hay gone that Worthington's going to be the guy the majority of the time.
Seems to be that way right now. I mean, Huds is still a young goaltender, and he's still developing and growing in this league. And I think the team still believes in him. So keep developing and keep learning and keep building. And it's nice that the pressure to be the guy for Huds isn't there right now, and he can learn from Alex, and the two of them have a good dynamic. And we'll see how it progresses with Hudson and how he can continue to develop. He's only 17, so still a long ways to go for him.
Matt Barrett joins us, voice of the Edmonton Oil Kings. They're in Spokane tonight, and then finish up their road trip. Well, actually, that's not true. They got Seattle on Friday, and then Wenatchee. But then they come home and practice, but then they go right back on the road to Medicine Hat and Swift Current, and that Medicine Hat team is loaded right now. Yeah. You just kind of, when you look at the standings and you look specifically in the Eastern Conference, Medicine Hat, although their team's loaded, their record though hasn't really lived up to what you'd think based on the talent they have in that roster. You're a little surprised the fact that they're only a 7-6 team thus far.
Yes and no. I think there's still a little bit of youth on that team. Like Gavin McKenna's still pretty young as a player, but he's obviously sensational, right? So, it's an interesting dynamic. They've sorted out their goaltending situation, it feels like, with Harrison Menigan, who's tremendous as well. So I think they're going to start taking those bigger steps forward now to be that team we expected them to. They're going to be a problem for a couple of years, and they added a couple pieces in the offseason. I think they're going to start picking it up, but it was surprising to see them start the way they did.
From second through until 8th place, it's only, or 9th place, 5 points separate everybody. You see the Oil Kings, we know they got off to a little bit of a slow start, but they seem to have found their game. If you kind of, handicap where they are at, everything, like, is best case scenario top 4 team for the Oil Kings? You think they get higher in that? Or are they more still in that 5, 6, 7 range?
Oh man. Well, like you said, all this parity kind of, right? It's tough to sort of determine where they could go. Like they're only 3 back of Lethbridge, right? For first in the division. So, I mean, that could change in a weekend. A team could get hot here for a couple weeks and jump into first or second place in the division and get a home ice advantage slot in the first round of the playoffs. And I think the Oil Kings have the potential to be that. We're going to see here. This road trip is going to be a big test. We're all basically halfway through 9 games away from Rogers Place, and we're going to learn a lot about what this team can do. And it's not easy to go on the road for 9 straight. So this team's going to gather some points, and we'll see where they are at the end of it. And then I might be able to give you a bit of a better answer there, Jason.
Yeah. Okay. Well, enjoy the call tonight. 3 in 4 games. It's always fun as a broadcaster, so you get to see a lot of the games. So enjoy that. We appreciate your time.
Jace, appreciate it.
There you go. That is Matt Barrett from the Oil Kings, who after a slow start, they've, you know what, they're a team that everybody expect to be a playoff team. They've got some good young talent, but not that young. And I definitely think they're going to be a playoff team this year. Spokane, Seattle, Wenatchee. Then they got Medicine Hat and Swift Current. So Oil Kings fans, you won't see them at home until November 13th. But that's a game you'll probably want to go to because Gavin McKenna and a host of other really good players on that Medicine Hat Tigers team will be in town. So they only have that's one home game between now and the 20th of November. So enjoy it while you can. Then they obviously get on a stretch where they're at home quite a bit. So obviously that was their longest road stretch of the season. In December, they have a lot of home games, same as in January. So it's been kind of an odd start with them, although I guess maybe the good news is they're getting a lot of the road games out of the way. So there you have it. And I see the stories out there. Was that emergency team meeting that was called today by the University of Alberta Golden Bears football program because Chris Morris has resigned or will be resigning. He's probably in the process of doing it right now as the head coach there. And he's going to become the new president and CEO of the Edmonton Elks. And he is somebody who has been in the community since he was drafted by the Elks back in 92, pretty sure it was. And he's been here pretty much the entire time since. He was a longtime teacher in the community, great teacher by the reports from a lot of the kids over the years. Of course, has been was an all-star Hall of Fame player for the Edmonton Elks, multiple Grey Cup champions with the organization. Has been the Golden Bears head coach for a decade. And not only being the coach at the university, you do a lot of recruiting, but you're also in charge of the business side. And so he knows a lot of people in the business community. I think he comes with a very respectful name. There's not a lot of people in the community that don't know who Chris Morris is, especially in the football community. Well, there's no one in the football community, I wouldn't think. But then even in the business community, he's done a lot in the community. I think this is a very good hire that checks a lot of the boxes. Now, running a CFL team is going to be different than a University of Alberta program. There's going to be some learning curves, no doubt, but he's a pretty intelligent guy, right? You've had Chris on the show, or you've heard, I should say, Chris on the show, a very intense guy. He's a great motivator. He loves take on a challenge, and I think this is a great hire. So you have Morris. I've said it many times. If you can tell me who you think is a better candidate than Ed Hervey as the GM, I would be open to hear it. Who do you think is a better candidate? To me, now, Chris Morris will know Ed Hervey. They're obviously teammates. Ed Hervey has a lot of experience as a general manager, being a GM on Edmonton, BC, and Hamilton. And I can tell you firsthand, without question, he would be interested in coming back to Edmonton if indeed that was an option for him. And I think to me, it's kind of too obvious of a hire. It's a no-brainer. You can outthink yourself. Now, if I'm Chris Morris, I'm going through the interview process because you never know. Maybe you can be surprised. Maybe there's someone out there that's better. But it would take a lot for me to find someone I think who's better when I look at what this organization needs in a GM. You needed some experience. This is not the time for a rookie GM. Think about who we just had in studio for last hour, Trey Ford. You heard it. Trey Ford right now, he said, hey, my teammates told me I should test free agency. I'm thinking about it. But a lot of that can change depending. I can tell you 100%. If G. Roy Simon is the GM, I think there's a very low chance that Trey Ford comes back to Edmonton. Actions speak louder than words. And I think the actions of the previous regime did not instill a boatload of trust in Trey Ford. I'm just going off actions. You can say everything you want, but I just go off of actions he went 4-6 as, his first year getting to start some games consecutively after they started 0-8. Pretty big improvement. And then They signed a veteran quarterback in the offseason. Now, had you signed the veteran quarterback to support the young quarterback, thought it was a great signing. But you signed him to be your starter. And the minute he was signed, it was like, we're not even having a competition. Bethel Thompson is our starter. Now, I get it why that's what they do. Hey, a lot of times, who's making more money? They're the starter in the CFL. In other sports, it isn't always that way. You can have a guy on your forward line, guy on your blue line, who's making more money than a guy on the first line, they're on the second line. It happens all the time. But in the CFL, highest paid quarterback usually is your starter. So it was predetermined. And then they go 0-7 again. So Trey Ford got to start a game 1 week earlier than he did the year before. And then they had success. Unfortunately, got banged up. Comes back in. Had a tough game against the best defense in the league. Happens. But quickly was taken out again. I don't think there was ever a real committed effort to commit to Trey Ford. At least I didn't see it. So I think whoever the new GM is, that's going to be one of their big decisions. And one of their big challenges is to convince Trey Ford that, yeah, we want you in Edmonton. We want you to be our quarterback. We believe you're the best option. Because that's what I tell people. Who are you going to take? Who do you think's a better option than Trey Ford right now? 833-401-1440. Who do you think? We'll take a quick break. We'll return. Your M Truck joins us. We got Craig McTavish after 5 o'clock, the Hall of Famer for the Orders. And it's a busy Wednesday edition of the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Orders Nation, YouTube, and Facebook.
Legacy Heating and Cooling jingle auditions, take one for Gene Principe. Are you ready, Gene?
Ready. I'm not just here to make a thermo a couple of bucks. I'd never just microphone it in.
Take one.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Nice.
Boom. I'm a musical genius.
Legacy's going to love this for furnace season.
What's not to love? With no interest and no Principe payments for 1 year.
Are you always like this?
Yep. Unlike a furnace, I have no filter.
Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Saving you more at The Brick. Save up to 25% off furniture, including sofas, sectionals, dining, and bedroom furniture. Save up to $500 off big screen TVs and up to 40% off mattresses. Plus, when you buy more, you save more with deals on Samsung, LG, Whirlpool, and Frigidaire appliances. And if you find a lower price before the end of the year, they'll refund the difference, including Black Friday and Boxing Day. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
You've probably heard the term supply and demand. Something is needed and someone supplies it. We're GS Construction, and we're in the supply and demand business with you. Edmonton and the surrounding area continue to grow. Infrastructure has to be continually replaced and upgraded to keep up with demand. You see it with new buildings and new roads, but what about below ground, where all sorts of pipes bring you water and take wastewater away? That's where we come in. For more on what we do, go to gsconstruction.ca.
Actions speak louder than words. Japa Machinery Group puts your construction plan into action with XCMG construction machinery you need. Available for rental or sale. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore
.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
4:28. Welcome back. Busy Wednesday on Sports 1440. Man, the text line is humming after that Trey Ford interview. If you're just joining us and you missed it, we had Trey Ford in studio for an hour talking about his journey to football and then his time here in Edmonton, impending free agency. He answered a lot of questions, addressed that from his standpoint, which was a false report that he had turned down the opportunity to have some packages. All he asked was, are there throws in the package? They said, yeah. He goes, then I'll do it. And then the next day, the report was that he had said no to the package. So and I'm on record, Cons. You've heard me for months. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense to me that a player would do that. And so now it doesn't make sense. It just, for whatever reason, that regime under Jones, and even when he left, they never seemed committed to Trey Ford. Now the future will tell if they were correct or not. My statistics and my eyes tell me they aren't, and so we'll see what the future holds. But that's why I've said it all along. I think there's zero chance he returns if the GM and coach return. I'll say zero chance, and I think Chris Morris coming in as the new CEO. I think he's going to hire his own guy. I could be wrong, but. You had guys who are part of a regime that has had the worst record in the CFL the last 3 seasons combined. Why wouldn't you look elsewhere? If we're talking results, I don't see how anyone can say the results are good enough. Right? They're just not. So they're 7-11. Now they started out 0-7, so they went 7-4 down the stretch. Obviously, big improvement. Think about what would have happened if you'd actually played Trey Ford earlier in the season. You could have been a playoff team. So, and they just even when they could have Cons, they didn't commit to Trey Ford.
Yeah, I mean, I think great advice he's getting from his teammates. Why wouldn't you test for agency? Go see what's out there. Hear the pitch from the Elks and see what their plan is. Unless they're going to blow you out of the water. Go talk to other teams, see what else is out there, and then you can always circle back and talk to Edmonton and come back. But for sure, we heard it. We were told on this show there was those packages. He didn't want to do it. It was said very casually. To hear Trey say it, not only on air but off air, like, no, I said whether it's throwing, then sure, let's do it. And then bringing up the fact that he did play special teams as a rookie. I forgot about that. I mean, obviously he's willing to do these things. So yeah, I don't think anyone would blame Trey if he goes out there and finds his options, see what else is out there. Selfishly, as someone who wants to see this team succeed, and getting a chance to talk to him and meet with him today, we'll love to see it be here in Edmonton.
Oh, 100%. Let's go around the NHL. Oh, no, let's go to the oil report brought to you by Volvo Cars Edmonton.com. They are Canada's #1 Volvo dealership right here in Edmonton. That is VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. As Tyler Yaremchuk joined us. And Ty, we had Drake Caggiula on the show earlier. First time in the NHL for him in 19 months. He'll play on a line, it looks like, with Philp and Perry. I see no reason to recall both of them. Put your team in LTR and not play both of them. So I would expect them both in the lineup. Draisaitl will stay with his line with Podkolzin and Arvidsson, and Nugent Hopkins moves to the middle with Hyman and Jeff Skinner. What do you make of the line combinations without McDavid?
I really do like them. I mean, I did wonder if maybe there was a chance we would see, but not that you'd want to deplete your center depth, but would they do something different and try to keep Skinner, Henrique, and Brown together? Do you want to build up some different look of a first line? And do you want to keep Nuge on the wing and then maybe play both Philp and Derek Ryan? But I don't think you want to have a bottom six that is both Philp and Ryan. So I think when I looked at this today, and I'm looking at it now on Daily Faceoff, it makes a lot of sense to me that Henrique, Janmark, and Brown line, kind of caught lightning in a bottle for the back half of the playoffs. And when you talk about surviving a 2-3 week stretch here without Connor McDavid, you're just kind of hoping one of these lines can, or maybe two of them can catch lightning in a bottle. And I think they've given each kind of group in the top 9 a chance to do that. And with the new look fourth line, it's faster. And I think for me, that's the biggest part, is that it's a little bit speedier than it was before. And I do think they need to be faster.
Well, the funny thing is, I know a lot of people say that, but if they're so slow, why are they out shooting teams consistently? Why do they have the puck more? It's a faster one. You don't necessarily. I think you might lose a few straight foot races. That's fair, but you move the puck quick. That eliminates any sort of lack of speed because the puck travels faster than anyone else. And I haven't seen the Oilers losing games because of team speed. I see them losing games because they can't score. And then when you know what? I know, hey, they got blown out twice. Skinner, was he any better than anybody else in front of him? Not really. Although last game, I didn't like the second goal. The other ones, I'm not sure he had much of a chance on. But to me, it just comes down to pure puck polish, if we want to use a Jay Woodcroft term. And they don't have a lot of it right now.
Yeah, I will say, though, the Janmark, Perry, Ryan trio, when those three specifically have been together, they're starting close to 70% of their shifts in the offensive zone, too. So maybe this gives you a line that you trust to start in different areas of the ice. Not that you're going to, be leaning heavily on Noah Philp in the D zone, but he was good in the dot. Like, that's the most exciting thing for me. I made the prediction, and granted, it's based off of what we saw in the preseason and also what I've seen from the player in the past, but I think Noah Philp might just stick around when all is said and done here. I think he made a good enough impact through the preseason. I think he did more than enough to lose the job, but I also think Derek Ryan didn't do enough in the preseason Philp did enough to win the job. I don't think Derek Ryan did enough in the preseason to lose the job, and he held on to it. But I think people are going to love what they see from Noah Philp. He's big, shoots right. He just checks so many boxes, and he thinks the game really, really well. I had a conversation with Jason Demers, who played a season down with him in Bakersfield, and Demers said even then, like, he was one of the smartest players on the Condors. And when he was watching him in the preseason, he said it's translating. This guy can think the game at the NHL level. I think fans are really going to like him.
Well, there was lots to like about him in the preseason. Drake Caggiula was raving about him, how just he's smart, but he's big, he's physical, can really skate, and he will add speed there. There's no question. So, hey, if Noah Philp's in the lineup over Derek Ryan, like, I have no issue with it. He can win faceoff. He kills penalties. Like, Derek Ryan, has done nothing for me to say that, wow, you can't give up his spot, right? He's a good pro, a smart player. He doesn't really make any mistakes that are noticeable. He just, he doesn't do a lot, right? I think Noah Philp will be more physical. He's quicker for sure. Now, does he have the gamesmanship? No, but I'm not sure that's something that's really lacking. You got Corey Perry and you got Drake Caggiula. Those are two veterans. They know how to play the game. So we'll see what they do. The other thing is the power play. It looks like they're going to just stick with 3 forwards. They're going to go to 2 defensemen on the first unit power play. Ekholm with Bouchard, Hyman, Nugent Hopkins, and Draisaitl. And I wonder if we see Ty Ekholm more at the top and Bouchard sliding down for a one-timer on the left side.
Yeah, so I was speculating about this the other day on my show, and I went through that same kind of thought exercise where I was like, hey, how long have we been talking about someone on the other side of the ice who can unleash one-timers? And I think last week you and I on this hit talked about Victor Arvidsson being there, and maybe he's the right shot that you put in that spot, but I mean, Bouchard is a natural shooter. He's got an absolute bomb, and Ekholm can work the point. Like, the few looks they've gotten on the second unit, I've liked him. He's good at getting pucks through as well. He's got 26 shots at 5-on-5 this year. That leads the Oilers' blue line. It's 4 more than Bouchard, even though he's attempted, I believe, a hair less than that. So Ekholm can get pucks through. Bouchard has a cannon of a one-timer. I think it totally changes the dynamic and how teams need to approach it. And I do also like the 3 forwards, 2 defensemen thing. Like, listen, it's not working right now. I think bringing it back to a very simple approach for the Oilers could end up working, and just saying, hey, play it like it's a normal game almost, and trust that your skill can take over with a man advantage. So I love the look of that new power play. I hope it's actually what they roll out in the game.
Well, I think that's what they're going to. I don't see any reason why they'd practice it without McDavid and then do something different. I'm curious about the splits though on the first to second unit power play. That's what I'll be watching. Like I think we might see closer to a 115-45.
Which is totally fine as well. And if one of those units can get hot, you just keep going with them. Like, again, you're not going to be picky about who's scoring in a stretch without Connor McDavid. Like, whoever's stepping up and getting the job done, they should be playing. And that goes for power play or 5-on-5. Like, no more trying to get guys going. Like, it's time for results. You got to get through a 2 to 3 week stretch here without your best player, and you are already under 500. Like, you can't afford to just sort of waddle and wallow your way through this stretch of 9 to 11 games. Like, you need to win. You don't have the luxury of going under 500 in this stretch and really being behind the 8 ball when McDavid returns.
No, not at all. You look at now, their schedule isn't awful. And I outlined it earlier. The Edmonton Oilers roster, if you go by, they got 8 guys who scored 20 goals in their career. Right? You got lots of guys who've scored 30 goals in their career. You've got now Corey Perry, obviously, it was a long time ago, but you have 3 players who scored 50. Corey Perry had 12 goals last year. Like, he's a productive fourth-line player. But their top-end guys, Draisaitl, how many other teams in the league have a Hart Trophy winner and Art Ross winner, right? There's just not many. Then you throw in Jeff Skinner, 6-time 30-goal scorer, Zach Hyman, productive player, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, decent forward, 60-point guy a few times, had obviously a one great year. Henrique scored 20 goals 8 times. Like, I don't want to hear that the Oilers, without McDavid, they shouldn't be able to produce. Their roster, you look at their 12 forwards and put it up against lots of teams, it's very even.
Yeah, and I think, like, listen, not that anyone in that room is sitting around pouting, going, "Oh no, we don't have Connor, like, we're screwed." But, like, I'm kind of hoping some guys in that room are looking at the way the national media is talking about this today. And, like, I got an alert today from Apple News that said Oilers facing dark future without McDavid, and I was like, whoa, like, this is maybe getting out of hand. He's out for 3 weeks. He's not out for the rest of the season. But I'm kind of hoping that for some of those guys in the room, it's maybe a kick in the back end to be like, all right, I'm going to prove that I am. Yeah, hey, everyone, I was a 20-goal guy. Like, I can step up. I can contribute. I can help drive this team. Like, we're no one-man team. Not that anyone really says that about the Oilers anymore, but I think guys should be taking pride in trying to step up and fill the absence of Connor McDavid. It should light a fire.
Yeah, and the other thing is, speaking of lighting a fire, like, maybe Drake Caggiula and one guy can't do it, but man, they need to have a little bit more spunk and a little bit more energy in the first period, because they have not been a good first period team this year.
No, and hopefully, again, maybe that was part of the vision of calling up 2 guys from the American League who, again, should move well, can hopefully play physical, and maybe it's a little bit of like, okay, give us some energy, give us some juice, go lay the body, go give us something, because I do think the Oilers are a team that thrives on that. Like, is the stat not that in every game they've won this season, they've had a fight? Like, sometimes they need to be picked up a little bit. So yeah, adding some bottom 6 guys, exactly like Caggiula, who should be highly motivated after not playing in the NHL for a while, adding in some guys who can maybe give you a little bit of that jam. I see zero downside to that. Like, again, I don't think Derek Ryan was playing terrible hockey by any stretch, but a different look, I think, is going to be good.
Well, it definitely can't hurt. There's you know what? Why not? I look at the Pickard getting the starting goal. Obviously, Skinner needs to be better than he was the last game. The team needs to be better than they were. We had Terry Ryan on yesterday, and he said it. And another time in another place, a game and that effort that they had in Columbus would be one that would get your coach fired, because the team looks so disinterested. Now, maybe that had to do with McDavid getting injured, and it was a shock to the system. But I'm very curious to see how they come out tomorrow against Nashville.
Yeah, it should be fiery, and I agree with that take from TR. Like, I tweeted, there's having nothing in a game, and then there was whatever the Oilers brought to the table against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Just, I know they hit a few posts, and Draisaitl had the one, and Connor Brown missed on that shorthanded kind of partial breakaway, and you go, okay, maybe if one of those goes in, it sparks you a little bit, and you end up putting together a decent effort. But also, it just didn't feel like there were a lot of players who were going out onto the ice being like, okay, I'm going to try get momentum back in our favor. I'm going to go try and make a big play. It just feels like McDavid went down and they went, well, we're probably losing tonight, and then played the final 59 minutes and 30 seconds according to that.
Tyler Ramchak joining us, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. Quickly to the Elks announcement for Chris Morris as the CEO and president.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not a guy who is, in the media in terms of the Elks or anything like that, but for me, as someone who I would say I am a football fan, I watch the NFL, I keep tabs on how things are going in the CFL. I think what I've maybe underestimated a little bit is and I used to say, like, hey, you need to find a way to get the young people into the game. But like, my group chat with my buddies, who again should be the prime demographic, we are in our 20s and we are sports fans. That's who the Elks should be targeting here, is the next wave of people who will one day have the income to be season ticket holders and all of that stuff. I underestimated how much of a winning team or how much a winning team affected this age group. Like, I had friends when they were starting to play some decent football, and you watch Sports Center and people were like, hey, they're top 3 in the power rankings this week. I had buddies who were like, we should go to a game. They're playing pretty good. And it had nothing to do with, any sort of a marketing thing or whatever. It was just like, no, they're playing good football and they actually might win. So I think really I've changed my tune on that. I used to say like, hey, you need good drink specials. You got to get the party crowd in there. And I do still think you need that. But I'm now like, priority number 1, put a winning football team in there. And that's why I enjoyed your chat. And I like your opinion on Trey Ford. It's like, man, that guy was winning and he was exciting and you weren't playing him. I was more intrigued as call me a casual. I was more intrigued at the idea of going to games and when I knew Trey Ford was going to be on the field. And when it was McLeod Bethel-Thompson, he's a fine quarterback, but it just didn't have that sort of flair and it wasn't bringing the results. And I'd sit at home and go, okay, 5:00 on a Saturday, I could go watch the Elks, but they're probably going to lose. But when they put on a good product on the field, people will go. That has to be priority number 1 here.
To me, it's not even a question. Their handling of Trey Ford was like a wasted year of development. And I thought Trey Ford said it in as many ways you could say without saying it. He talked about just the importance of reps, in practice, sure. And even in practice sometimes. He wasn't getting first unit reps in practice. So it's not even just the game. Right now, the game reps, as he said, are ultimately the most important. But if you're not getting enough reps in practice, that's not helping you either. And so I looked at how many reps he lost this year. And I just am like, why? To a 36-year-old quarterback who is never going to be your future. Ever. Now, if you want to sign Bethel-Thompson, he's a really good team guy, he's a really smart guy. I wouldn't be surprised if he wanted to get into broadcasting or his coaching, he could do it. No doubt on that. So if you sign him to be the backup to help Ford, and if Ford had a game or two off where you want to go, okay, sure. And Trey Ford started 14 or 15 out of 18 games, I'm all for it. But to sign him as your starter in the offseason, and so basically say, hey, Trey Ford, guess what? You're neutered after giving some excitement to the franchise. We're not even going to give you a chance to compete, because the minute they signed Bethel-Thompson, they came out and said, he's our starter. It wasn't even a competition in camp ever. He never got a chance, and it was just such a wasted year. And I don't know if you heard his answer when I asked him about the Simon and Jackson. Do they believe in you as a quarterback? Goes, I don't know. And I liked his honesty, right? Like, he doesn't know. And so if you're a free agent, would you sign somewhere where you don't know how they truly feel about you as a player or a person? Zero chance. Why would you?
1,000%. And I think if there was a smarter group in charge there, he would have been marketed and developed to be the next star in the Canadian Football League. And hey, if it doesn't pan out and you give him an honest run of a year or 2 years of properly developing him, giving him chances, and then the results aren't there, then sure, call it a failed experiment. But to have an opportunity like you did with a guy who has the electric upside that he has, and a guy who did prove it through a lot of stretches, to just wash it away it was mind-numbing last year when that signing came down. I couldn't believe it. And then the amount of times it was just, again, continually going back to MBT when Ford was putting in good results. The whole thing was annoying. And again, like, I underestimated that side of it with even people who follow the team less than I do, and they'd be like, oh, is Trey Ford playing? No, okay, I don't really want to watch the game. Like, it had an impact on casual fans, and I do think they need to consider that. And again, properly developing a homegrown superstar that has value.
Oh, right. Hey, get a good veteran quarterback who can continue to help mentor him and, learn a lot of ropes. And, if maybe he gets banged up here or there and you need a guy who's competent come in, great. But he should be their starter. I would take him, are you taking Jake Meyer? I know there's a lot of people, Adams. I'm like, okay, I know what Adams is. I think Adams is a pretty good quarterback, but do I think he's better, higher ceiling than Trey Ford? I do not. And that's what I would go off of if I'm the Elks. They need a high ceiling player.
100%. I'm with you totally.
Ty, great stuff, my man. We will chat with you tomorrow on the rundown. Have a great day.
Yeah, see you tomorrow morning. Thanks, Greggs.
There you go. That's Ty Remchuk from Oilers Nation and Daily Face-Off. Quick break. We got 5 questions. Craig McTavish and more on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Weather forecast? Ugh. Savings forecast, cha-ching. Save up to $225 on a set of 4 select tires, plus a bonus $50 off any service of $150 at Fountain Tire until December 14th. Restrictions apply. Fountain Tire, we're on this road together.
My utility bills are going through the roof. How can I take advantage of the sun and put my lazy roof to work?
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Energy team reporting. When you're ready to make your home or business more efficient, Action Electrical has the power to install solar panel systems and EV chargers.
Facing an electrical menace? Call on the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta with supercharged skills and strong family values. ActionElectrical.net.
Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta, new players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet. Every week, all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Ain't it beautiful? There's electricity in the air. Carrie Dahl here for Volvo of Edmonton, where the Volvo XC40 and C40 fully electric vehicle is now in stock, along with a great selection of Volvo T8 hybrid models. Experience the trusted Volvo quality and technology to power into tomorrow at Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winners. Experience the difference.
Volvo of Edmonton. Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients, better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. That's SPORTS20.
Before every big interview, every big presentation, every big moment, I've always looked in the mirror and put on my game face. But lately, my eyes look tired, my brow looks old, and I'm starting to think it's game over.
Stop thinking and start seeing me, Dr. Vance Elliott, for skin refreshing treatments designed to give you a fresh and natural appearance.
He didn't make me look weird. No, he gave me back my game face.
Book your consultation today at drvanceelliott.com.
.452. Go ahead and jump up and down, Elks fans. Chris Morris, member of the Wall of Honor. Of course, multiple Grey Cups as a player. Ran the Bears football program for a decade. Was a teacher in town. Knows the community up and down. Very well respected in the football community. Well respected in the business community. I think this is a very good hire for the green and gold. And now he'll be sitting down and having the GM interviews. And I'm guessing would like to have his GM in place by the end of the month. Well, end of November, I should say. Not the end of the month. That would be tomorrow. But the end of November, if not sooner. I think that is that's going to be a great hire. A guy that Not afraid to roll up his sleeves, do a lot of work. He's passionate. He's intelligent, respectful. I think this is going to be a great hire for them. And the other thing is, he's a president who understands the game of football. I don't think he's going to micromanage and try to tell the GM what to do, but he can oversee. And maybe if the GM, if you go back to the Eric Tillman days and stuff, where someone say, "Well, we're not going to do that," that'd be nice. Let's get to 5 questions now. Brought to you by The Brick, where saving you more, that is their obsession. Whether it's furniture, you can get 25% off, mattresses up to 40% off, get an additional $500 off any appliances right now at The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, Jason, we saw some lines of practice out in Nashville without Connor McDavid. How would you set up the top 6?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. They didn't disrupt everything. Draisaitl, Arvidsson, and Podkolzin have played together for a few games. So you just move Skinner up with Nugent Hopkins and Hyman. I think you don't want to have to just put everything in the blender because of one player. I think it can show some faith in your other guys. Janmark, Brown, and Henrique are fine. And then you got Caggiula and Noah Philp, with Corey Perry. I don't mind that combination at all. So, things can move around as you go, but top 6, it's probably what I would have started with. I can always see them maybe trying Draisaitl and Hyman, but they've never really played together. And when McDavid comes back, he's going to play with Hyman again. So I can understand why the coach is like, hey, it's 2 to 3 weeks. I don't have to change everything.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like that they're going to kind of keep it as simple as they possibly can. On Fantasy Frenzy, I thought, Adam Henrique, could he get a pinch up there and see what he can do? But not breaking up the rest of your lineup. I think that's a good thing, especially, having the changes that you're going to have now on the 4th line. Keep it together as much as you can. I will say, though, very excited to see what Caggiula and Philp can bring to this lineup, playing with Corey Perry. Question number 2 for you. A lot of pressure here to be put on Draisaitl, Hyman, Nuge, the usual candidates, I would say. Is there anyone else you would put in that category that we need to see step up?
Oh, gosh. It's more so who doesn't have to step up. Really, honestly, every player is going to have to, but, to me, it's the top 6. The top 6 hasn't scored enough with McDavid. So it's the same guys. Like Leon Draisaitl has more goals and has as many goals as all the other forwards in the roster right now. Draisaitl has 6 goals. Now, people say, can he step up? Sure, it'd be nice maybe, lead the power play. Well, you can try to get the power play back on track. So then when McDavid comes in, he's just adding to it rather than having to try to save it. Because, hey, sadly, he was part of the problem because right now their power play hasn't been effective enough. So they'll try to simplify it a little bit. If you have Ekholm, maybe he moves at the top a little bit if you want at times. Bouchard can roll over to the left side for a one-timer for a right shot. We'll see what happens. But, yeah, Draisaitl obviously is going to be your main guy. He's your best player. So, like McDavid's first 10 games, were they great? No. So do I like if Draisaitl isn't suddenly great, does that mean he's terrible? No, because no one thought McDavid was terrible, even though his first 10 games were below his standards. But I think Draisaitl for sure. Zach Hyman, come on. It's 10 games. You got to get going.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, those guys have to be counted on. Outside of the names that I said away from, I probably look at Victor Arvidsson and Jeff Skinner. Like, these are the guys you brought in here to help out, contribute. This is the time. Arvidsson has a 3-point night. That's great. Got to get the puck in the back of the net. Skinner, and I know I already mentioned Hyman, but my goodness, man, you got to find a way to score. You're getting the opportunities. Get that first one. I think the rest will come. Question number 3. We never really did our NBA prediction this year. So when it comes to the finals, who do you think is going to be representing each conference?
You go ahead first.
Well, I would hate to say it, but I have to. I think Boston in the East is going to come out with it. Don't love it because I'm not a huge fan of the team, but that's where I'm going. And then I'm hoping the team that can dethrone them, the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think they went through a little adversity, got some playoff action, and I'm going to go with the Thunder to come out of the West, battle-tested, and take down the Celtics.
Wow, the Thunder. Geez, Dallas, pretty good year last year. But, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. There's no reason why I shouldn't pick Dallas. But I don't feel overly confident picking them. And yeah, the Celtics are the best team in the East. I don't think there's much debate on that. I'm not sold that the Knicks necessarily got better because of that trade. So, but I'm gonna go. I'll do something different. I'm going to say a surprise will be the Cleveland Cavaliers in the East. And, oh, God, I love OKC, but I'll go different. So I will go, how about the Suns? They live up to their potential this year.
All right. Question number 4 for you. Of course, Dodgers couldn't wrap it up last night. What do you think happens tonight as they're in New York taking on the Yankees, looking to finish this series, leading right now 3-1?
Yeah, well, the Dodgers went with the bullpen start last night. They got their starters back. I say the Dodgers win.
Freddie Freeman hits a home run. That's my prediction.
That'd be unreal.
That's just what he does. I'm going to say I think the Yankees find a way to send it back to LA, where the Dodgers can wrap it up at home. Final question for you, Gregor. We know on Halloween the kids say trick or treat, and we discussed the treats yesterday. What confession time? Have you ever got involved in the tricking side of Halloween?
Not to any great extent, to be honest. I think once when I was, if my memory's correct, I want to say 12 or 13, I did throw an egg at a house. So that would be the extent of it. Yeah.
Nothing major then.
Nothing major, no. But still, although like egg on the side of a house, like now I'm like, if someone egged my house, I'm like, whatever. Like I just get a hose and like, as long as it's going to do any damage, like I guess I don't hit a window. So I don't know, egging a hole. Like I remember people used to, like toilet paper someone's cars and trees and stuff. I never did that either. But yeah, I think I did throw an egg once, if my memory is correct.
So yeah, I'm similar to you. I never really got into it. Never threw an egg. We silly string attacked people once. Some friends from school got them, had an elaborate plan to kind of get them in a corner and make sure we executed the plan properly. Did have my car TP'd once, and then it rained. It was such a mess. Still don't know to this day who got me. Car was parked out in front of my parents' house when I was younger, and it rained.
Nice.
And
that's awesome.
I was getting up. I was working at Save-On in the bakery, 5 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Just terrible start to the day.
No.
Yeah, they got me, whoever it was.
You still don't know? No one ever fessed up?
No one ever fessed up. No,
You have
suspicions, but can't be accusing them right now.
Why?
Well, I mean, I guess I could.
Mm-hmm. Who is it?
There's a coworker at Save-On.
Oh well, yeah. You guys all got fired at Save-On. It's a bunch of bad seeds. A bunch of bad
Suspended.
seeds.
Suspended.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, suspended.
And I will say they did ask me to come back early from suspension. So it couldn't have been that bad what I did.
I guess not. When we come back, the Hall of Famer, Craig McTavish, who just got inducted into the Edmonton Oilers Hall of Fame last Friday. We'll talk to him about that, get some of his coaching thoughts on injuries and, how do you help your players get out of an offensive funk? We'll find out from Mac T next after Connor Halley's Sports 1440 update brought to you by Booster Juice as they celebrate 25 years. And they got some of the classics back, the Marathon, the Original, and the Creamsicle. Download the Boosters Reward app or go in store. Get yours today. Booster Juice.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
The Edmonton Elks are making it official. The team will hire longtime member of the organization as a player. Chris Morris is their next president and CEO. Of course, coming over from being the head coach of the University of Alberta. There'll be a press conference tomorrow at 2 o'clock to officially announce it. The Edmonton Oilers make another thing official as they announced that Connor McDavid will be missing 2 to 3 weeks with an ankle injury he suffered Monday against the Columbus Blue Jackets. The Oilers, of course, on the road, taking on Nashville tomorrow. Puck drop just after 6 o'clock on the ice tonight. Busy one. You got the Islanders and the Jackets. Red Wings host the Jets. Lightning take on the Avs. Utah hosting Calgary. Kings up against the Vegas Golden Knights. And the Devils in Vancouver. Major League Baseball. It's Game 5 of the World Series with the Yankees looking to stay alive as they host the Dodgers. First pitch set for 6:08. LA up 3-1 in that one. In the association, the Raptors travel to Charlotte, taking on the Hornets. Tip-off in about 5 minutes' time. You also have the Cavaliers taking on the Lakers. The Celtics in Indiana. Sixers host the Pistons. Knicks up against the Heat. Grizzlies welcome the Nets to Memphis. The Spurs in OKC, and the Warriors taking on the Pelicans. The Edmonton Oil Kings are in action this evening. They'll take on Spokane. A puck drop just after 8 o'clock. And then in the AJ tonight, Fort McMurray taking on Lloydminster. That one gets going at 7. Coming up in hour 4, we'll be joined by Oiler Hall of Famer Craig McTavish. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Raise a smoothie to any friend you've had since 1999. That's a good friend. And Booster Juice was there, now celebrating 25 years in Canada and more than 450 locations from coast to coast. A silver anniversary splashed with lots of oranges. Celebrate 25 years of Booster Juice with the return of OG favorite smoothies like the Orangesicle, the Marathon, and the Original, made with oranges, bananas, strawberries, strawberry sorbet, and probiotic yogurt. Happy 25th, Booster Juice. Download the Booster Rewards app today.
In 1973, deep in the basement of an Edmonton family home, an elite team of specialized forces came together to form Action Electrical.
Action Electrical Divisions, assemble.
Projects team reporting.
Service team reporting.
Testing team reporting.
Energy team reporting.
Supercharged with skills in their electrical fields and grounded by strong family values. Facing an electrical menace? Call on the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Saving you more at The Brick. Save up to 20% off furniture, including sofas, sectionals, dining, and bedroom furniture. Save up to $500 off big screen TVs and up to 40% off mattresses. Plus, when you buy more, you save more with deals on Samsung, LG, Whirlpool, and Frigidaire appliances. And if you find a lower price before the end of the year, they'll refund the difference, including Black Friday and Boxing Day. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Hey, it's Scott from Sherwood and St. Albert Dodge. I think it's safe to say we are all paying attention to interest rates these days. If so, you'll like this. We have 0% financing available on Jeep Compass, Wrangler, Grand Cherokee, and Wagoneer. 0% on the Dodge Durango and the all-new Hornet. And the rates on Ram 1500, Ram 2500, and Ram 3500, you guessed it, 0%. Are you picking up the theme? We have 0% financing on virtually all 2024 new models with hundreds to choose from. Why pay interest? Instead, come get a new vehicle at St. Albert and Sherwood Dodge.
Michelle and Colette are sisters. Sisters who don't agree on much, especially when it comes to which hockey team is the best.
Edmonton is the best, baby. Vancouver's number one.
Even when it comes to meat snacks from Wilhawks.
I love the Harris Schwiener. The ham sausage rules.
But they will agree
Wilhawk beef jerky is the best.
it might just be the only thing Alberta hockey fans can agree on.
Others can try to imitate, but no one can duplicate Wilhawk beef jerky. Only available in Leduc. Get yours today because you don't win friends with salad.
The farmer's favorite horse team carries him one last time, delivering his casket to the country church his family has attended for generations, his adult children taking turns at the reins. He didn't request this farewell, but by taking time and listening to his family, Park Memorial helped plan something that just felt right.
At Park Memorial, we're deeply invested in creating the most meaningful remembrance for each family we serve. I'm Kirsty Smolik, third-generation president of Park Memorial Funeral Home.
Ready to tackle your toughest tasks? Edmonton Kubota has you covered with the all-new M8 Series tractor with powerful 181 and 201 horsepower engines, Cummins power, and loader readiness. It's built to handle any challenge. And now, for a limited time, get a free 4-year extended warranty when you drive off with an M8 Series tractor. Don't miss out on this unbeatable offer. Visit Edmonton Kubota today and power up your productivity. Edmonton Kubota, where power meets performance.
Live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta? New players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet. Every week, all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Just after 5 o'clock. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440. If you're wondering where old Speck is, he is on holidays, taking his lovely wife, celebrating her birthday, surprised her with a trip. So he is off for the week. He will return next week. And we've had a few people wondering, hey, did he get fired? No, Speck didn't get fired. He said a lot of dumb things, but no, he didn't get fired. Nice. Jason Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you use the promo code Gregor50 and you can get a free play in the month of October. PlayAlberta.ca. Man, the text line from the Trey Ford interview is hot and humming. 833-401-1440. If you missed that interview with Trey, I would highly recommend it. If you want to learn about what it's like to be a quarterback and what you see in all the reads, I thought he did an unbelievable job explaining that. And then was very honest just about, how the last few years have been from his standpoint. And, said very honest. He goes, I'm not really sure how they view me as a player, which is never great. I think our next guest will be the first one to tell you the coach's number one responsibility is that the players know what's expected of them and how the coach sees them as a player. I think that's kind of like a captain obvious thing that you would want from your coach and general manager. As we get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment. And coming next week, curling fans, are you ready? Get down to the Silent Ice Center, which of course is just outside of Nisku for the Grand Slam of Curling at the Silent Ice Center. You can get your tickets at silenticecenter.com. As we are joined by Stanley Cup winner multiple times with the Edmonton Oilers. He was also an assistant coach, head coach, general manager, VP of hockey operations, also on the broadcast team. He's pretty much done it all. And now he was inducted into the Oilers Hall of Fame last Friday. Craig McTavish joins us. Mac T, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Greg. But I think a lot of Edmontonians are getting sick of hearing from me over the last couple of weeks. It's been nonstop, and I'm flooding the airwaves. And good to see Speck getting away on a holiday with his wife. That's probably rare for Mark. He does a lot of work here in the community, and that's probably the nicest things I've ever said about Speck, but good for him.
It's true. Well, you know what, Mac T, you got to ride the wave while you can, because as you would know, sometimes all of a sudden the wave goes away and no one wants to hear from you. So it can be good. Hey, at least they're talking about you, and it's well deserved. I always like to talk to guys after they go through a ceremony like that, and kind of, how it was and how it felt, and just kind of, maybe take a moment to realize, like, that's a pretty cool honor. And, you see your name is now up there forever. I saw your son, Sean, yesterday at Hockeyology here in West Edmonton Mall. And you know what? We were just talking about it. He goes, you know what? It's pretty awesome. Dad's name's up there forever.
Yeah, there's so many things to be thankful for, and so many things to thank the Oilers for a number of year career. And this acknowledgement, it was incredible. It was nice to have the family out there, and then to have your name up there with some of the greatest Oilers of all time, and me being a pretty journeyman player. It was cool. I think unexpected for me. Getting back to when I was first made aware that I was going to be inducted into the Oiler Hall of Fame, I was at Kevin Lowe's, and Kevin said, hey, we got to get up tomorrow at 7 a.m. and we got to get on a conference call with Billy Moores. Billy Moores is getting inducted into the University of Alberta Hall of Fame. And I'm going, yeah, great. We'll get up, and it got on, and there's Charlie Huddy and Simmer, Kelly Buchberger, Billy Moores, myself, and Kevin. And that's when they told me that I was going to get inducted into the Oiler Hall of Fame, which was pretty cool. I've got to say that.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. And pretty cool. A lot of your good friends were right there, kind of pulled it over your eyes a little bit. So, they all tell you as a group, that's got to be pretty special.
It was. Yeah, it was. I got, it's all, as you know, in your business and the hockey business, it's all about the relationships and the friendships that you forge over time. And I've been super fortunate. I said it on the ice that night, to come into an organization that was so mature with their leadership and talent, and Glenn Sather at the helm, and unbelievable leaders in Gretz and Mark and Kevin. I mean, it was it was everything that I expected and more coming in here, and I was able to hang on for a lot of years, and had great support along the way. So it was a lot of fun.
Craig McTavish joins us. And an added special bonus is that a former teammate of yours who won multiple cups with you, Randy Gregg, goes in at the same time. And you guys both kind of had similar approaches in the sense that, Randy was like, I'm not really sure I should be in here. But at the same time, hey, you know what? You don't want to turn down an opportunity like that. But kind of nice to go in and with the guy that, you saw up close and personal, just how important he was to the team's success.
Well, and I give Glenn a lot of credit for that, recognizing, I mean, people make contributions to the team. I mean, he was such a cerebral guy and never made a mental mistake. And, he wasn't the flashiest guy, nor was I. And, Glenn had an appreciation of us as players. And we had, we were allowed to play and contribute to the group. And Glenn was, he was tremendously loyal. I think that was one of his great qualities as a coach. And we were able, in those days, it's harder now, as you know, to keep the teams together with the salary cap and so forth. But back then we were able to stay there. And I was there for 10 years, and Doc Gregg was there for 7 or 8 years too, and won 5 cups. I mean, it was an amazing era in the NHL, not just Oiler hockey.
Craig McTavish joins us. And, Craig, when you came to Edmonton, when you look back on that time and you said, man, I was just trying to make the team, right? But, you look back now, 39 years later, 38 years later, and your whole life changed when you came to Edmonton, and really the direction of your life when you look at it, it probably couldn't have worked out any better. And I don't know if you ever had aspirations when you were playing that you wanted to get into coaching right away, and then maybe even management. I have no idea. But when you kind of think of the journey that you've had in Edmonton and when it started, when you were probably just trying to hopefully make the team and not think anything else, it's been quite the almost 4 decades.
Well, I wouldn't have predicted how it ended. And how long it was before it ended. But actually, it's still kind of going.
Yeah.
But it was the right spot for me. Alberta, Edmonton, really, met my wife, got married here, and stayed here for 40 plus years, or close to 40 years. But really was in sync with the people of Alberta and the people of Edmonton. It was, like-minded people, and people are great in Edmonton. You go out and they're all so enthusiastic about hockey, but so respectful of everybody's time and space. And it's my town now. I love it. I've got my Western papers. As I say, I was born in Ontario, but I've got my Western papers now, and can turn my nose up to the east at times. But love the politics of the West, and love the people in the West.
Craig McTavish joins us. Craig, I have to ask you, when you're assistant coach in New York, and then you get the head coaching job in Edmonton, and obviously everybody remembers the 06 run, but the one thing under your watch as a coach was, a lot of the guys, you were able to get the most from a lot of the players. You obviously, pre-Stanley salary cap, your team couldn't compete with the other teams on skill because they just paid way more money, right? But how are you able, for the most part, to get the majority of your players to give their best effort on a regular basis?
Well, I appreciate you bring that up, because I really feel that was the case. And it was the character of the people. I mean, we had great characters back in back in the days when I came in here as an assistant coach and Kevin was the head coach and Ted Green was an assistant coach with me. I mean, that was maybe the most fun year I've ever had in hockey. And, we had just great people and guys that would lay it on the line. And maybe we weren't the most prolific offensive team, but we could rip the cover off teams, and we played a brand of hockey that, me as the coach could be satisfied with, even in defeat, and be proud of with the group that we had. I mean, we had just warriors: Ryan Smith, Jason Smith, Todd Marchand, Mike Greer, Ethan Morrow. I mean, it goes on and on and on with guys that were, would lay it on the line each and every night and do whatever they could to win. We didn't always win, but we were always in the game. And then we had an amazing run in 2006. That was the year the salary cap came in, as you know, and we were one of the few teams that was below the cap at that time. And so we could absorb players that other teams had to get rid of. They didn't want to get rid of Chris Pronger in St. Louis, I'm sure, but we were able to acquire Chris Pronger and Mike Pekka. Kevin Lowe made all those deals at the deadline we were with Dwayne Rolison and Sergei Samsonov and Spacek on the back end. I mean, we weren't even in a playoff spot. I mean, that took a lot of courage from him to do that, but he did it. And, we took off and had an unbelievable run.
Well, if there was a GM of the Year award that year, he would have won it hands down. That's one.
Well, yeah.
Like
he was he did a fantastic job, and it was too bad we couldn't keep that group together. And it's harder with the cap, as the Oilers of 2024 playoff run saw. They had to make some decisions after, and it's difficult.
Craig McTavish joins us. And Craig, I've never asked you this question. We've done a lot of interviews over the years. And Ales Hemsky was a ridiculously skilled player. And, fearless, for a smaller guy, he went in all the tough areas all the time. I look at his time in Edmonton, and no offense to Sean Horkoff, because, man, Sean Horkoff's a really good player. But Hemsky never had like an elite offensive guy to play with. Horkoff and Smith were great NHLers and legit top six guys. But you know what I mean by like elite offensive players. I always wondered, I think elite usually needs other elite guys to really, become 100+ point players for the most part. And like, when you look back at Hemsky, do you think he's really underrated in just how skilled he was?
Well, not internally, that's for sure. Maybe externally, we certainly appreciated what he did. And, that line was our first line that went to the Stanley Cup Finals with Ryan Smith and Hork and Hemmer. But they did it, different than a lot of other first lines do. They checked the hell out of everybody, and they had an adequate skill set that they could match up against other teams' best, most offensive lines. But I agree. I think, Hemsky, he was a heck of a talent. And, was he a challenge at times to coach? Yeah, he was at times, but I loved him as a player, and he grew up in our organization, and, I still have great memories of him, and I get together with him and we have a lot of fun. But he's the type of player that got better when the game was on the line. I mean, he could get disinterested at times, but the more important the minutes in the game, the better he was. And, he was would he have been better with a higher end passing center than Hork? I don't know, maybe, but he was a heck of a talent.
Craig McTavish joins us. Mac T, I always got to ask you, put your coaching hat on here for a second. The Oilers as a group are creating a lot of chances. I don't think their shot placement has been great. on finishing. I'm a big believer that scoring is a skill. It's not just while you put pucks to net and eventually the luck will go your way. There's obviously some luck involved, but to be a good scoring team, which they have been, to be the best scoring team in the league for a few years, they have the skill to do it. As a coach, when you've got a collective group of guys, underachieving in their finish ability, it's not so much like they're creating lots of chances. They're getting a lot of shots. They're not finishing. How, as a coach, can you help a group get out of a lack of finishing funk?
Well, I mean, it's got to be a active attrition. And, when guys get off and aren't scoring at the rate that they're used to, it's a lot of times it's a confidence thing. Like it's amazing the confidence boost you get as a player when you score a goal. And I don't care whether that goal goes off your skating in or off the shaft you're sticking in. It has a huge residual effect on your confidence, and that has an effect on your overall game. And we haven't had a lot of puck luck around the net so far. It was pretty eerily similar to last year's start. But I mean, with Connor out now, it's going to pose significant challenges, but I don't think there's a ton a coach can do outside of get the players handling the puck and feel confident handling the puck and making plays.
Yeah, well, and that's what you want. What about kind of rallying around? The Oilers, when you look at their roster, their forward group without McDavid, they still got 8 guys who have scored 20 goals at some point in their career. Like it's not like, this is circa the Oilers of 2010, 11, 12, where they just didn't have a lot of talent. They still have a lot of talent, even without Connor McDavid. What do you expect kind of how that rallying cry goes to a group that probably has been off to a slower start than they would like? And can losing a skill guy, can that snap you out of the funk because you're just like, okay, we better get going now?
Well, I'll say it's an unknown for sure. I mean, I have no idea how this current group without Connor is going to respond. I mean, they're going to be trying to do the right thing, but will they be able to, they haven't been that productive with Connor, and will they be more productive now? Can they be more productive? I mean, I assume they can be, but I don't know for sure how they're going to react. I mean, Leon will step up. Nugent Hopkins, Ryan Nugent Hopkins is going to have to step up for sure. And some guys are going to have to fill the void of those minutes. And that productivity that's going to be missing because Connor's not in the lineup. I mean, the defense, we've talked about it since the start of the year, is probably not as good as it was last year.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's going to fall on Connor and Leon and Stuart Skinner largely to outscore some more of the breakdowns, and Stu to handle more of the breakdowns. And so far, they turned it around. They played great against Pittsburgh, and then another great game, I thought, against Detroit. But obviously a step back the other night against Columbus.
Yeah, that was obviously not a great performance. Craig McTavish, no. to put it mildly, John. I do want to ask you, MacT, I was in hockeyology for the first time. You're involved in that. Kind of give me your thoughts on kind of the process of hockeyology and how you think it's going to help a lot of young players.
No, I think it's going to be good. I'm not really involved in it, but my son Sean is. Okay. And David Cooper is the spearhead there. I think it's a unbelievable facility. It's going to take them a while to get the people in there so everybody gets a look at it. But what'd you think when you walked in there?
Well, first of all, I was quite surprised to see 2 little mini ice rinks. I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
I was just like, what? So, that's something new for sure. Well, you coached, and I think like in North America at times we're maybe a little bit behind. We finally got to half ice, and there's still some people who think half ice for U9 and U7 is bad. And I'm like, I watch the order practices daily. They rarely use the full ice practice, Craig, even at the NHL level, because battle drills are all from the blue line in a lot of cases. Obviously, you have some lengthy rushes that you'll use here and there, but I would say at least 70% of practice is done half ice because the game is all about small battles.
Yeah, how important are small area skills?
Yes. Oh, man.
And I think, I mean, they have all of that. They've got lots of personnel out there to help the players, and the skating treadmill machines for skating and stuff like that. I think it's a wonderful facility. I haven't actually been over there yet, but I will shortly. And I've been in California the last little while, but I think it's going to be an incredible facility for everybody.
Yeah, no, it should be very good. And one last one for you, Craig. Congratulations again on the honor going into the Oilers Hall of Fame. Doing the broadcasting side, you've always been a good coach. You're always well spoken as a coach. Have you enjoyed that opportunity to kind of give some insight to the fans? And not just necessarily the highlights, but kind of a little bit more deep insight into the game.
No, I love it. It's who could not like working with Gene and Bob between periods. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. It's it keeps you in the game. It keeps you it keeps you up to date on what's going on. So I enjoy it. I don't do a lot of it, but when I'm in town, generally I have the opportunity to do it and enjoy it immensely.
When is Gene going to bring you into one of his intros? That should be like, Hall of Fame is one thing, but being part of one of Gene's intros, that might be the highlight of your career.
Well, he's such a civic treasure for us that he's such a great person and does such a great job for the Oilers. I mean, you can't find one person to say one bad thing about Gene Principe, and that's rare in this business.
Yeah, it totally is. But you might have to get in there, Gino, because I know there are people that tune in just to see what Gene's going to do on his intro every game. Like that it's kind of become a staple. As much as people watch the game, they're like, well, I got to see the intro.
I don't know how he comes up with it day in and day out, but he's a real pro, that's for sure.
He is. Well, Craig, again, congratulations. Well deserved. And we'll talk to you again soon. Enjoy the season.
Sounds good, Jason. Thank you.
There you go. That's Craig McTavish, recently inducted into the Oilers Hall of Fame. I like to call it the Ring of Fame because it's up. If you've been in the rink, you'll see it. All the names are up there, and they added Greg on one side, McTavish on the other side, and away you go. I thought the first few years would be kind of pretty cut and dry on who's going to go in. I think in the coming years, the debates and the discussions of who's going in and I'm a big believer that it doesn't always have to be two people. If they're worthy enough, then yes. If one year it's only one, that's totally fine. Are there any other guarantee? I think there's one other player for me that's a lock who should be in. I think it's Bill Ranford. He's a Conn Smythe Trophy winner. Stanley Cup. He was unbelievable when they won the Cup. And on those early 90 teams, Bill Ranford was a really good goalie. Right, he's playing the Canada Cups. He's playing the World Championships. The Oilers were terrible those years after 92. From 93 to 96, oh my goodness. There were some really lean years. And Ranford was playing a ton. He's facing more shots than any goalie in the league. When you look at the success of that team, though, the 1990, they had a lot of great guys, but Bill Ranford was amazing. A Conn Smythe Trophy winner. To me, he's the guy for sure, just based on his resume as an Oiler that I would have in. After that, I think there's discussions and debates for lots of other guys. I might put Hemsky second on my list, actually, of people that I would put in for Pat. Now, Joey Moss, I guess that'd be my third. So I think those would be my three that are for sure. Then there's going to be some open discussions on others, but those are probably my three. Let's take a quick break. We'll return. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. And do you need a good laugh? Well, do not go away because you are going to laugh hard at one of the favorite moments of our show. And I'll tell you why. We talked about this yesterday on the show. Thought it was important to bring it up, so we will do it next. Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
A premier hockey solution with a clear path for long-term development is proud to be entering its 8th season of independent borderless hockey, featuring provincial and cross-province competition with showcase-style regular season gameplay and a strong commitment to individual skill development. It's an attractive option for those seeking family life balance. The Hockey Super League offers opportunities for both male and female athletes born between 2012 and 2017. Visit hockeysuperleague.com for more information.
Edmonton's premium live music and party venue is
On the Rocks.
Check out Bingo Tunes on Monday. Perform on the best stage in town with karaoke on Wednesdays. Learn how to salsa with Salsa Rocks on Thursdays. And every weekend, OTR goes live.
With your favorite bands on the OTR stage and DJ Kenny K.
For everything that's going on at On the Rocks, give us a follow.
Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
At On the Rocks, EDM.
Eat well, party hard.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Open every day till 2 a.m.
Often when I meet people at a party or I'm hanging out at my favorite restaurants, I'll introduce myself and they'll say, "Oh, you're Grant Fedoruk from Leading Edge Physio. What can I do about this sore knee? It's been bugging me for months." First, I was thinking, when I'm out like this, I should just tweet my location so people know where to come for a consultation. But then I thought, I'm spending all this money on advertising Leading Edge. Maybe you could come by one of our clinics. That's where we have the technology and really smart physiotherapists who can give you all the advice and treatment you need. Have your people call my people, leadingedgephysio.com.
Legacy Heating and Cooling jingle auditions, take one for Gene Principe. Are you ready, Gene?
Ready? I'm not just here to make a thermo a couple of bucks. I'd never just microphone it in.
Take one.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Nice.
Boom! I'm a musical genius.
Legacy's going to love this for furnace season.
What's not to love? With no interest and no Principe payments for 1 year.
Are you always like this?
Yep, unlike a furnace, I have no filter.
Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Sadly, people you know will go hungry tonight. Your local food bank is like a beacon, reaching out to those in need, offering warmth, food, and hope. A single donation, a few hours of volunteering. Believe us, it's a lifeline. From the folks next door to the quiet cashier down the road, someone you know could be depending on a food bank. Visit foodbankscanada.ca and help them serve hope on a plate, because no one should weather life's hurricanes alone.
You'll see us digging holes. No, we're not looking for buried treasure. You'll see us digging trenches as well. And no, we're not building a fort. We're GS Construction, and you'll see us in neighborhoods throughout the Edmonton area. So what are we doing? GS Construction provides rehabilitation and upgrade services to Edmonton and surrounding communities. Some of our underground utilities have served us for years and are past their useful lives. We replace them, so they're around for years to come. Find out more at gsconstruction.ca.
Sports 1440 is ready to talk hockey with you after every game this season. The post-game show with Andrew Walker is brought to you by the Ridge Social Eatery in St. Albert. Tune in after the next game.
I'm Gene Principe for Legacy Heating and Cooling. If you need a furnace this Halloween, it'd be a grave mistake not to
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Need repair? Revampire your furnace. Just
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Legacy has a skeleton of furnaces in stock.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Plus no interest and no Principe payments for 1 year when you buy with Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. We offer sale, rental, repair, and calibration of hydraulic, pneumatic, and battery-powered torque wrenches, stud tensioners, and flange maintenance equipment. Order today at cantork.com.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. So we were talking about it yesterday. How a good friend of our show, Kathleen McGee. Many of you have probably seen her. She's a stand-up comic. She's toured around for many years. She was involved in our roast that we would do for charity for kids sport. She was fantastic at the roast. Oh God, Gager was one of my favorites. And I think she had more fun roasting the other roasters than she did the roastee. But either way, it was great. But maybe not maybe, it's without question my favorite interview, and one of the funniest interviews we did, was when Kathleen, I asked her, and we set it up. I asked her to pretend that she was a dermatologist, because Struddy, of course, has his lip balm addiction. Like, he can't go an hour without putting lip balm on his face. It's on his lips. It's crazy. It's true. Can't do it. And dermatitis is a legit condition that you can get. You get like that red ring and it stays around your lips and doesn't go away, and it's not good. Right? Like, it's a legit thing. You look it up. And so I had set it up. I made sure I had it on my laptop, and Struddy was there. We were on location many years ago doing the show when we did this. And so, unfortunately, Kathleen has been battling cancer for the last few years, and she's been placed in hospice just so she can have the best care possible. It's not looking great, unfortunately, for her and her family. And so in honor of Kathleen, because we all could use a good laugh, her husband Adam had mentioned, just, when you think about her, if you can smile and you can laugh, that'd be great. So I always laugh when I listen to this. And so I just want to set it up. Struddy had no idea. He thought she was a legit dermatologist, and we were discussing the issues that could arise from his lip balm addiction. And I'm telling you, for the first 6 minutes of this, Struddy is hook, line, and sinker. Dr. Sarah McGee also specializes in dermatology. Joins us on the line. Sarah, how you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you coming on. So now, I was doing a little research about lip balm before, and reading some things online, and you never know if it's true or not. They talk about the fragrances like camphor and menthol that shouldn't be in, but like, how serious is a lip balm addiction for a guy like Strudwick? Like, what's the worst possible scenario here?
Well, the worst possible scenario is that he will eventually get dermatitis, which is an extra chap around the outside. If you're constantly applying this, it doesn't give your lips time to breathe and grow new skin cells. So you're going to get that look that, you get from kids in elementary school when they drink too much juice. They have those red lips all around the outside.
Yeah.
He's going to look like he's drinking too much McDonald's orange juice mix.
So how long does this well, that's an eye opener. How many years?
His face right now. He's laughing, but he's kind of scared.
I just say, okay.
I mean, it is an addiction. It is a real addiction. It's for your skin. Using it too much is not good. And I don't want to burst your Blistex bubble. The best is actually just Vaseline.
Oh, well. But I can't fit that.
Blistex is not the best. But also, it is a psychological thing. There's been studies, because they find that men actually use chapstick more than women. So they've done a study, and with most things that men do, it kind of links. Now, this is going to maybe make you embarrassed, but it sort of links to penis issues, in the fact that you want your lips to be as soft as a penis, so you're overcompensating for maybe issues down below. So, and this was a study that was done by the New England Journal of Medicine. So it's something to consider. Like, maybe you need to go to see a therapist about this issue.
So I'll tell you right now, there's no softness issues below the belt. Like that. Let's I just want to
laughter here.
I mean, maybe you just want your lips to feel like a penis, so you can constantly be licking. I don't know.
I don't even think there is the same type of skin.
This is funny because your laughter is kind of compensating for your concern. So how does a guy go about eliminating I guess how many times he applies the lipstick, the lip balm, and then obviously the carrying it around constantly in his hand? Like, that's probably a whole other issue.
I mean, he needs to find another security blanket that maybe is a bit easier on his lips. Maybe start sucking on lollipops or something like that. So you clearly have oral fixation.
What are you talking about?
Well, what do you mean? What am I talking about? You're constantly applying things to your mouth. You have something with you that constantly is focusing on your mouth. So you need to find something else. If you're going to be orally fixated, maybe chew gum, maybe do something a little different. and only apply your chapstick twice a day.
Yeah, but I'm not orally fixated. I think that's a pretty big.
I think you're in denial. I really think you're in denial.
Listen, what about, isn't the patient always right? Like, you got to give me a chance to get my I'm not orally fixated.
I mean, I'm not an ex-hockey player, but I did go to school for quite a long time.
Which is funny because Struts likes to claim that he went to school. So, which is so now it's funny because we have a lot of guys texting. Good God, I'm actually addicted to this too. So, like, is it kind of like cigarettes? Do you have to go cold turkey to try to eliminate it? And when he does, is it just the pain? He's going to have to live with chapped lips for like 2 weeks or a month, and then eventually they'll start to re-moisturize themselves. Is that how it works?
That's pretty much it. I mean, you don't have to go full cold turkey. I literally try to apply it twice a day, once in the morning and once at night, and then you're going to be fine. You can still have your chapstick. You can still, have soft lips, but they're not going to be over soft, and you're not going to get that red toddler ring around your lips.
But I don't have the red toddler
No, she's saying when you stop taking it.
No, I know,
because your lips are going to.
I can't stop.
Well, that's the point, though. You have to. People say they couldn't stop smoking. People say they can't stop drinking. It's hard, but you have to do it.
Yeah, but this isn't killing me. I mean,
she just told you what the long-term effects is, so you're okay with that? Like, what if you have? Like, I don't know if the proper term is lip ring, but is that kind of essentially
lip
what?
Ring?
Yeah, I mean, the medical term is dermatitis.
Dermatitis.
Yeah, I can send you a picture of someone with it. It's actually kind of horrifying. If you know what herpes looks like, it looks like herpes all around your mouth.
Whoa. Okay, let's not mix up these two things. But I think the image I'm getting is Ronald McDonald's lips.
Well, no, not like red lips. Like it's all red and chapped. I've said, that McDonald's drink that you used to drink when you were a kid at school.
Yes.
There was always that one kid that drank too much and had a red chap around their mouth. So you're going to be that kid.
Well, yeah, but I've been doing it for 40 years almost. I've been using chapstick.
You haven't been using this for 40 years.
I've been using some. I started with, this is the entry lip addiction is Labello. It's the one that's in the blue.
But how long, honestly, have you been carrying this lip medic? Like
probably 20, 25 years.
20 years.
Okay. And there must be some sort of issue then with the penis issue that you just want penis in your mouth.
Why do you keep bringing that up? There's no link between my lips and my penis. They've never
maybe
been
not your penis, but maybe just the need to have a penis-like thing near your mouth.
No, there's nothing. There's no link. Listen, I have no problem with that lifestyle, but that's not my choice. So why are you linking this?
I know what I'm talking about.
Well, are you I need to see a certificate. Is it a certificate or a degree?
Well,
it would be a degree.
It would be a degree. It's not a certificate.
I have a hard time. I don't understand how we went from my chapstick to penis issues in the same 10-minute span.
Now, do you find, Sarah, that some people, like, you have the addiction, and so you have to, and Struds applies it, like he says, he goes pretty much every hour, on the hour, sometimes more than that, and he carries it around all the time. And I told him, in all honesty, because he liked carrying around his chapstick thing, was to just empty the chapstick thing and carry it around. So when he went into it, there was nothing there, but at least he'd have the security of it. Like, or is his carrying around the blue thing like a new level of addiction?
I mean, I think that sounds like more like a healthy way to do it. If you can't get rid of the chapstick, at least get rid of the part of it that you put on your lips. Like having it in your pocket, if you need that little security. I mean, if you're that insecure and you need a little chapstick to make you feel like a bigger man, then maybe do that.
Why are you being so aggressive? I thought you were a doctor.
I'm trying to help you.
Well, no, but I'd like.
I like Sarah's approach because a lot of people are a little bit just, Jason, it's okay. Like your lips look good because Struts thinks his lips look great.
They look
great.
And
they might look fine, but I don't. It's kind of like false lips, right? You have steroids on your lips.
I'm a believer in tough love. So I'm just trying to make you see what maybe some people might see, but be too afraid to tell you.
But why do you have to give ton love? Aren't you you're a skin doctor?
Yeah, tough love. You're going to get a lot of blackheads around your lips too. Do you know what those are?
Oh, I do, but I'm not getting blackheads around listen, you're a skin doctor. What do you mean bedside manner? You don't have.
All doctors have to be able to talk to their patients to get them to make themselves feel better. I don't know why you're attacking my credentials or my career.
Well, you're attacking me. Listen, you treat rashes. You're not a rash.
Well, it's not a rash can be going away. The only way it could go away is if you stop taking it.
I'm not a psychologist. I just did some reading up because I knew I was going to be talking about this, and I found back Yeah, you just want penis lips.
I don't know. I do not.
Well,
want that.
that's kind of the interesting thing about all of this. So, Dr. Sarah McGee joining us right now. And Strutty, I just want you to know.
Yes.
This is our good friend Kathleen McGee, who is one of Canada's best comedians, who came on the show. Struds was so.
What are you talking about?
Oh, there.
What are you talking about?
Oh, Kathleen, you're fantastic. Oh, you are fantastic. Struds was your opening line had Struds like literally nervous about the fact he would get lip ring. I know. I approached Kathleen because I know she did a roast on me many years ago and crushed me on that, so I knew she'd be very good. Oh my goodness, I can listen to that, and I know what's coming, and it still makes me laugh. I think that was Declan's first time listening to that interview. Cons.
Yeah,
and
confirmed.
I heard laughter in the studio, and I'm sure many of you, that might have been the first time. That was the best part of that whole interview was I had texted his wife Shona beforehand. I told her what was happening. I'm like, you got to listen to this. And she's texting me during the interview and she's dying. She's like, oh my God, he's got his nervous giggle. When he gets really nervous, that's how he starts laughing. That's his other security blanket, was the nervous giggle. Oh, that's when I knew we had him. It was so awesome. So, Kathleen, it's the gift that keeps on giving many years later. Whenever you need a good laugh, we always think about Dr. Sarah McGee. And Kathleen was outstanding at making people laugh. And we hope that her and her family now get all the support they need through this horrible time for her. We'll take a quick break, come back and wrap things up on the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook.
Saving you more at The Brick. Save up to 25% off furniture, including sofas, sectionals, dining, and bedroom furniture. Save up to $500 off big screen TVs and up to 40% off mattresses. Plus, when you buy more, you save more with deals on Samsung, LG, Whirlpool, and Frigidaire appliances. And if you find a lower price before the end of the year, they'll refund the difference, including Black Friday and Boxing Day. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
We got to spend a night in a castle.
Then we visited a monastery where cured meat was invented.
Our trips are never that cool.
We spent half the week trying to hail a cab.
You guys need to book with Network Travel.
Make your next trip an unforgettable adventure with Edmonton's only travel agency with the network to connect you to the most amazing experiences. Network Travel. Learn more about our upcoming tours to Ireland, the South Pacific, Africa, and more at networktravel.ca.
Don't let your future become a blurred memory in the rearview mirror. Every text, every call diverts your attention, slices your focus. It transforms a leisurely drive into a potential disaster. Remember, the safest spot for your phone is out of sight in the back seat or a purse. Reclaim the roads, reclaim your safety, because nothing, absolutely nothing, is more important than your life. Visit drivewise.com for more information. Make a promise today. Ensure a safer tomorrow.
Cold weather is coming, and low prices are here at Canadian Tire's biggest tire sale of the year. Save up to 25% on quality tire brands like Motomaster, Bridgestone, and Michelin at Canadian Tire. Only from October 11th to 31st. Conditions apply. Details online.
Cross Mitsubishi is giving you a chance to see a hockey game in style.
Just head to Cross Mitsubishi and take a test drive. You'll be entered to win a pair of hockey tickets to a November game, $200 for food and drinks, and 2 Edmonton jerseys of your choice.
Get in the game with Cross Mitsubishi, home of the largest 2024 Mitsubishi inventory in Western Canada and the 10-10-10 warranty.
Visit Cross Mitsubishi today and drive your ambition. 9605 34th Ave.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Hey, Gregor, you didn't disappoint. I've never heard that before. That was pure gold from Steve. Hey, guys, John just says, God bless her. That Strudwick interview was hilarious. Hope she's doing okay. Jason, guys, I remember this. Even funnier the second time. Awesome. Hey, guys, chopstick just damages your lips, so you have to feel the need to keep using it. JCD, you're 100%, man. You're bang on. Yeah, it just forces you, it dries it out, and then you have to keep applying it. Otherwise, your lips feel chapped all the time. It's a bad cycle. You know what? As a friend, I was trying to help Struddy. Now, did we do it at his expense a little bit? Maybe, but that's getting away from what the point was. Now, I would love to, and one day we might have to do it. We would go Dr. McGee and then the Kendra interview back to back. And Connor Halley just had a very good point off air. There is a point in both interviews where Struddy starts to get defensive, which is very rare for Struds. And that's when we knew we had him both times. But the Kendra interview, I was able to, and that, like, if I look at highlights of my career, Connor, I still think tracking down Kendra might be the highlight of my. Now, that might say a lot about what my career has been to this point, if that's the highlight. But for me, that might be the highlight. Tracking down Kendra, who stood up Struddy at a train station, is still one of the greatest radio interviews I've ever been a part of.
Struddy still believes that Kendra did, in fact, follow his career.
Oh, yeah. If you didn't, oh, it was so awesome. Oh, I loved it. It's good stuff. We might have to do the Kendra one next week. I think like once every few years you replay that, it never gets old. Like that's when you know it's good comedy, because it doesn't get old. It ages well. On behalf of Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, I'm Jason Gregor. If you missed the Trey Ford interview, go and download it wherever you get your podcast, or jasongregor.com. It's fascinating. If you want to get an insight into where he's at, is he going to be a free agent? We'll see. But guess what? He might not with the new president town. As time for a Connor Halley a sports update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home with no payments, no interest for 1 year on your furnace. Stay warm all winter. LegacyHeating.ca.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
In case you missed it, the Edmonton Elks have found their new president and CEO, hiring Chris Morris, formerly of the University of Alberta Golden Bears. He's also a longtime player with the Green and Gold. The Edmonton Oilers announcing today that Connor McDavid will miss 2 to 3 weeks with an ankle injury he suffered against the Columbus Blue Jackets on Monday. Oil back in action tomorrow, taking on the Preds on the ice right now. You got the Jets on top of the Red Wings 2-0 midway through the first. After 20 minutes, Blue Jackets and Islanders are scoreless. Later tonight, Colorado hosting the Lightning. You got the Flames in Utah, Kings taking on the Golden Knights, and the Canucks meet the New Jersey Devils. Major League Baseball, we're about 13 minutes away from first pitch out in the Bronx as the Yankees take on the Dodgers. Dodgers lead that series 3-1 in the association. The Raptors trail the Hornets 54-45 in the second quarter. Elsewhere, Caps up on the Lakers 52-36. The Celtics trail the Pacers 49-45, and the Pistons have a 39-36 lead over these Philadelphia 76ers. Later tonight, Bulls host the Magic. Nets take on the Grizz. Thunder up against the Spurs, and the Pelicans head to the Bay Area to take on the Warriors. In the WHL, the Edmonton Oil Kings are down in Spokane tonight. That gets going just after 8 o'clock. And in the AJ, Fort McMurray rolls into Lloydminster, taking on the Bobcats. Puck drop at 7. That'll do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Coming up next, we've got Fox Sports Radio all night. And then tomorrow morning, back live with the Kevin Carius Show featuring Brandon Douglas. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports